Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of the Replayables. We are doing our first ever draft here. If you can't guess it, by the Sonic-infused beer being held by Mr. Randy, Tony, George, everybody's got their stuff. We're doing the Sega Genesis Games Draft. So I'm going to go through a couple of short rules we've established for this draft, and then we're going to go around in the draft order, and everybody's going to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the Genesis. So first draft rule is no deluxe or special editions of a game. So for example, someone can't draft NBA Jam and then someone comes behind them and drafts the tournament edition. I feel like Sonic and Knuckles is different from Sonic 3. That's not. I feel like NBA Jam is really the only place that fits. But yes, once a game is gone and is gone, but things like Mortal Kombat 1 or 2 are completely different games, you're able to draft those. Sonic 3 and Sonic Knuckles in North America were released as different games that you had to go and purchase at the store. Therefore, for the purposes of this draft, those are two separate entities. In Wildcard, you can draft anything you want. You can draft a game, a piece of hardware. It just has to relate to the Genesis. You can draft a damn Mortal Kombat commercial. I don't care. As long as you could justify it having a connection to the Sega Genesis, you can draft anything in Wildcard. Wildcard, you can draft any game outside of North America. For the sake of this draft, we're just doing North American games. And lastly, for hardware and for Wildcard, you cannot draft other models of the Genesis. There was a Model 1, 2, and 3. You won't be able to draft the models. We're talking about what applies to the Genesis, not versions of it. Whew. That was a lot of rules. And at the end, we'll go through one by one and we'll read all our draft picks. Once this is done, we're going to put it on the Genesis Reddit, and we want all you guys to go and vote for the winner. There will be a reward for the winner, and that winner gets to pick the next topic for a draft. All right, so to get us started, I will go first. My name is Alex, aka Retropolitan Gamer. I spoke a lot about the Genesis when George and I did the Sonic the Hedgehog podcast, so I won't go too deep into it, but I will say I had one very early, came packaged with the Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Like I said on previous podcasts, the Genesis to me as a 9-year-old was the cool person's console. Everybody I knew who I wanted to be like or was really cool had a Genesis. Mine came with Sonic 2, and I played it to the end of its life cycle. I really maximized my time with the Genesis. George, you are our number 2 pick. Go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your relationship with the Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah, I'm George, and I also got the Sonic 2 bundle Sega Genesis. It's my second console, and I used it probably just as much as that Super Nintendo. It is still in the closet somewhere over there. So, if I really felt like battling with an RF cable, I guess I could bring it out. I don't.
Thanks, George. Gary, you are our 3rd pick today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Sega Genesis.
So I got Sega late after Super Nintendo, but I played a lot of Sonic, and then I got the 6-button controller, and I played a bunch of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, a lot of fighting games and Sonic on that. So I like this Genesis a lot.
Nice. Tony, welcome back. We went through hell last week on Doom. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with the Sega Genesis.
So I was Sega instead of NES. As I've said before, I got the NES way late, but I played a ton of Sonic games. All my friends had Sega Genesis, so we were all playing them. I had the second version, so the best version. And I would say the thing I remember most about Sega Genesis is the blast processing, making radical claims in all of the commercials, and their wild 90s hard rock, crazy amped guitar commercials about the blast processing and how fast and cool Sonic was compared to SM.
Yeah, it even reminds me of the Genesis does what Nintendo don't marketing.
Yes.
It was just, they were coming, and if you're going to come at the king, you best not miss. So if you're going to come at Nintendo, you better shoot straight. And now to reveal a little bit of behind the scenes, I'm really breaking the fourth wall here. Randy demanded to be the final pick in the draft. He said, put me in the hardest position because I'm going to show you Eggmen how to draft. Randy, with the 5th spot, tell us a little bit about your relationship to the Genesis.
Yeah, well, as usual, that's lies, and my lawyer will be attacking you soon. It's not going to be anything to do with the legal system. He's going to just physically attack you. Apparently, I'm in the last slot because of quote unquote a random draft pick, and I'm making air quotes on this podcast because the deck stacked against me. Listen, everybody knows it. Everybody in the Genesis subreddit knows the deck stacked against me because I am the greatest Genesis fan of all time. And the reason I am is because it was my first console, and I really fell in love with it. My brother had the NES, and I always watched him play. I dabbled in it, but it really felt like my older brother's system, and the Genesis, I'll never forget the Christmas I got it. Felt like this is my first console, and that's a pretty special thing.
Amazing. We picked a real good, and I wanted to pick something that felt manageable. I feel like if we go into the Super Nintendo or the day that we draft the PlayStation 2, there's going to be 90 games on everybody's list. But I feel like here we've got our categories down. Our categories are Sonic. You must draft a game featuring primarily as the protagonist Sonic the Hedgehog. No weird cameos. No like, hey, Sonic appears in the background of a Ghouls and Goblins cemetery or something. Sports. Any sports game, and we're including racing with that just to help streamline the categories. Platformer got its own category. Action, adventure, and shooter were combined into one category, as that is going to be one of our hardest categories. It's slim pickings there. Beat 'em up, potentially one of the best genres on the Genesis. Fighting games, a wild card, and hardware accessory. For those final two, wild card could be anything you want. And for hardware accessory, it can be a controller, it can be an add-on, it can be a game, whatever you want, as long as it pertains to the Sega Genesis. Everybody good? Everybody ready to draft?
Yes.
Ready.
Well,
Yes.
thanks to that random draft order that Randy was talking about, I somehow got the first pick in the draft. And I will say that this is
How
amazing.
did that guy who puts it together gets the first draft pick? Unbelievable. What are the odds?
I'm pretty
Complete
sure it said
coincidence. I have
third
no idea
attempt
how
on
this
that
happened.
random draft pick, too. Third
Yeah,
attempt.
third
Yes.
attempt because he didn't get in the first two.
There you go. And I will take the be-all, end-all for the Sega Genesis, the most number one thing ever in a draft. I will take Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in Sonic. Whew, close that category up nicely. And now I get to sit here and wait for 9 more picks. Me and George talked extensively on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Is there anyone who's like, this is not their favorite game on the Genesis?
It's up there for me. It's like their number one.
It's not my favorite game on the Genesis.
Wow.
Whoa.
There's no hot takes in a draft, Randy.
Yeah, that's a hot take. I'd almost want to
Genesis-
ask what your favorite is, but then I'll know what you're picking. So
Yeah, I don't want
You're
to
not
say
gonna tell
anything yet.
I think in pre chatter, one of my I have a couple favorites. Well, let's just keep the draft moving. We'll see. We'll
You know
find
what?
them.
You have the advantage because you get 2 picks in a row. You know, you can. It's you're just
Oh baby.
two of those
Okay.
late picks.
with our second pick. George, take it away.
I was silent because Sonic 2 is not the best game on the Genesis.
Wow.
Sonic 2 is not the best Sonic game on the Genesis. You, sir, messed up. I am taking Sonic 3.
That's a good pick.
That's what I was going to pick.
That is
Oh,
the
yeah.
number one Sonic
Fall
pick.
into number 2.
Wow. Okay.
Sonic 3 did everything Sonic 2 did, but better.
I love that we're starting with the hot takes already. Recently streamed Sonic 3. It's very fun. Although I might say Sonic and Knuckles was slightly better.
Okay.
Wait,
I can,
could I-
I
could
can
I
see
just-
that.
Could I clarify something that if we have any disagreements with Alex, that's considered a hot take?
Right.
Like
Right.
literally, he thinks his opinion is gospel.
Yeah, I basically have them chiseled into stone tablets that Sonic 2 is the best game. And yeah,
Yeah,
I'm screaming it from the mountaintop.
unbelievable.
And he's wrong. So I have the real number 1 pick. Happy to pass it on to the next person. I think it's Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, you're up.
Since you stole that, I'm going to have to go with Knuckles.
All
I'm
right.
getting-
All right.
That was-
Being
that-
made on Sonic
That was the
games.
first thing I asked when you brought up the draft. Is like, what happens with Sonic 3? Because that's my favorite game for Genesis.
Oh, Sonic 3?
Yeah. Well, especially when you put them together. But yeah, Sonic 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Fourth.
So because all the good Sonic games are taken, I'm changing format here, and I'm going to draft somewhere else because I don't need a quarterback first round. So we're going to pick up let's pick up our action shooter. I'm going to take Vector Man.
Whoa.
Okay, maybe I'm not clear. So you can jump categories around?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just all really got all the prime Sonic
thought we
games out of
were
the
in the
way. So it
Sonic
was like, why even bother at this point? I'll come back to Sonic.
Around round 5, I'll understand how this works.
Yeah.
It's like basically positions in the NFL. You can take whatever position you want first.
These guys
We
all
just wouldn't
chose
advise you taking
quarterbacks
a
right
kicker.
off the gate.
So what did he take?
I chose Vector Man primarily because I remember the hype around it and playing it a bit. Like a friend of mine had it. I didn't own it, but a friend of mine had it. We used to, and I think my cousin owned it. We played it all the time. It was like whoever could beat it first got a code that you could mail in or call in or something and win money. There was like a money prize for beating the game first. It was ridiculous. It was a crazy viral marketing in the 90s to get people to buy this game.
It was really late in the Genesis lifespan.
But it was a wildly cool game to play and an amazing like shooter game with some cool platforming.
Yeah, and that's a good pick, Tony, because shooter/action adventure is probably the slimmest of all the categories. So there's really only like 3 at the top there.
I will also say I loved Vector Man. Vector Man ruled. Vector Man came late in the Genesis cycle, and the graphics were kind of mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you turned into all these different things, like a tank man. You turned into Tank Man. I love Vector Man. It's hard. But it's really cool. It's such a Genesis game. It just feels like a Genesis game.
Mm-hmm.
It feels the most Genesis-y game of everything.
It's a great
I
pick.
agree.
It's a great pick. I respect it. Round 1.
Wow.
Oh, finally, we didn't have a hot take in round 1.
Yeah, he didn't contradict me, so it's not a hot take. All right, Randy, show us how 2 picks are done.
Oh, baby.
Here it comes.
Oh, baby. Here we go. Pick number 1. Put some respect on its name. This deserves to be round 1. This is Quackshot, starring Donald Duck. This will fill my platformer. Quackshot with Donald Duck is an S-tier Genesis game, and there's somebody on this panel who understands it. The other 3 may have no idea what we're talking about.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
Quackshot is a perfect game. It is, you are Donald Duck. You get angry, you eat peppers and go into a frickin' rage. You have a plunger gun for some reason, and the plunger gun is innovative. It starts by shooting enemies. By the end of the game, you get the red plunger gun, and the red plunger gun shoots on the walls, and you climb the plungers. It's amazing. It's just, and the gyro gear loose scene where you're riding the electric cables while sunset is happening is one of the most beautiful pieces of art in gaming.
I can see why you love this game.
Number 1 with a bullet. Gary, help me out. Is
I
Quackshot
love it.
the best or what?
It is absolutely the best, and I'm sorry, Tony, that you need to play that as soon as this podcast is over.
I may have to try this out.
with Randy and don't know the beauty of Quackshot.
He
Leads
kept
me
it
to
a
believe
secret
that
from me.
Randy dropped the ball, informing his friends about what a classic it was.
Okay, I have played Quackshot. You
looked at
jogged my
the
memory.
art.
I didn't own it. I played it at like a cousin's house. I never got to finish it.
Yeah, I'm looking
What's
at the
really
art. I can
dumb
see why
is-
you'd get this. It's
Well, when I
Indiana
was young-
Jones with a duck.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
We
What's up,
rented
Gary?
that from like Blockbuster like 4 times. By that time,
buy
I
it.
could have bought the game. Yeah,
Yeah,
The
that was
other
the
thing
best.
is-
it was so good.
The other thing is, I don't remember when I obtained it. I don't remember buying it. It just appeared in my life, like under my pillow one day, like finding the Lost Ark. I don't remember how it entered my life, but I'm so glad it did.
That's a Blockbuster
Yeah.
that didn't get returned. There's still the card where you owe $48 for a late
That
That's
sounds
fees.
like the opening to a Twilight Zone episode where like a video game just appears in your collection.
All right, we ready? We're ready for the double pick. Just
Round
bring it
two?
on home. Just win the draft right now.
Okay, here we go. Quackshot 2.
No, it is a game with a 2 in it. I know what's coming.
Do you? It
Yeah.
doesn't have a 2 in it.
He's so confident.
I'm going to sports.
I feel it. He's going to take it from me.
NBA Jam.
There it is.
Ooh.
There it is.
One-
I debated that one.
NBA Jam is a top 10 game of all time for old Randy. NBA Jam is quite possibly my favorite Genesis game, and I know I just picked it second, but it's a double pick. Who cares the order?
Yeah.
It's 1A, 1B with those two games. NBA Jam is such a classic. Obviously, we all played it to death in the arcades, and the Genesis version just is silky smooth. It's not going to have the graphics the arcade one has, but for the Genesis, that blast processing, it ran like a dream. And I just remember it was one of those first sports games I just fell in love with. It's so fun. Scottie Pippen all day long, up and down that court, raining threes. He's on fire.
That was a classic.
Just legendary. And it also paved the way for NFL Blitz, which is another game that's very important to me and Gary. I love arcade sports games, and NBA Jam is the king on top of the mountain. Easy 1-2 double pick. Sing some NBA Jam praises.
I mean, I didn't have it. My friends all had it, so they were all way better at me than I would still play with them, and I'd still get my ass handed to me all the time. And there's only 3 buttons on the whole controller, and I still couldn't figure out how to beat them. But I do remember, it opened my eyes to, sport games don't have to be the same boring, play to sports. You can make them, action sport games and, off-the-wall bonkers where you get these crazy abilities. And that brings me into a sports game where normally I don't like all the every year we release the next NFL game. I'm not a huge fan, but you put in a game that's now the ball catches on fire, or you can make the ground explode, or there's bombs on the ground. It's like that leads into Rocket League is a cool twist on a simple game of soccer. The NBA Jam is just the precursor to it all.
It's also
so I would praise that as a top pick. I was debating that or Vector Man to try to snipe it from everyone else, but
yeah, it really is what's aged the best, because even nowadays, you walk into a barcade or something and you see an NBA Jam arcade machine and you get hyped. And you know that the barrier to entry is so great that if you're with somebody who doesn't necessarily play a lot of video games, you can bring them to an NBA Jam machine and they're going to have a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also will play an arcade sports style game over a regular sim any day. And this was the first one I've ever touched. 100% great pick.
Yeah.
All right.
Tony, hit us with your second pick.
All right, so I'm debating here on a beat 'em up or a platformer. I think I have to take beat 'em up because I don't have much experience with beat 'em up. So I'm going to go to the beat 'em up category, and I'm going to pick one that just really took the beat 'em up category to a different level. Was Battletoads.
Okay.
I remember playing Battletoads
Battletoads.
first time on the Sega Genesis, not the NES, but the Sega Genesis, and the craziness, the difficulty, the crazy music, and that drumming kind of action music that came with it. It just was a fun all-around game. And the fact that we could play 2-player made it even more fun to play with siblings or friends. Of course, it was always one of those games I rented often, but never could get ownership of. But I just love Battletoads. And I think in the Sega Genesis, you had 3 different Toads to pick from instead of the 2.
Yeah.
Who
I
did
don't
you
remember
pick?
if there was. I usually pick the green one because I was a fan of green.
I still to this day remember getting past the jet ski level maybe
Mhm.
1 or 2 times in my life. To this day.
Yes.
Oh, that's one you save state the hell of on stream.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's really hard.
Okay. Gary, you are on to your second pick.
I have to snipe the fighting one.
Don't do it.
Can I do Super Street Fighter 2?
Oh, there it is.
Nice.
Because I don't know what can you say? It's the perfect fighting game. The Hadouken, the Shuriken, all the
The
Hadouken.
Kaflukin, the Gablukin,
I mean,
Shmalukin.
you got a great cast of characters in there. It
Yes,
used all 6 buttons on the controller, in the an arcade style. It runs pretty smooth.
I've heard the
music's
Hadouken's
fun.
useless.
Yeah, I love it.
It was also it was another one that was a beautiful arcade port to the Genesis, and having the 6-button controller where you didn't have to hit start to do the punches and kicks separately was a no-brainer. Okay.
I'm going to flip over to hardware.
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Okay.
like picking a kicker.
No,
Kicker off the
because
gate.
There's one piece of hardware that's better than all the rest, and it's the 6-button turbo controller.
Yeah, of course you're going
If
to
you didn't have a turbo button, You weren't playing the game right. So give me that.
Wow.
You can keep your Sega CDs and 32Xs. The controller's what matters.
Okay, I finally get to pick again.
Picking a kicker. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What game do you think it impacted the most to have that controller?
Anything with button mashing. I suck at button mashing. I'm so bad. I'm the worst out of the 5 people here at trying to mash buttons. So if I had a turbo button...
That's definitely all like the fighting games, like Mortal Kombat. Like Alex said, you like having to press start just to switch from punch and kick is like impossible.
that makes it just not fun.
I lost skin to Mortal Kombat.
Which also, to talk about the controller, like it really sucked that the Genesis only launched with a 3-button controller, right? And I know it's 2 years before the Super Nintendo where you get 4 face buttons and then the 2 shoulders. But like Genesis, basically, I don't even know if they ever included the 6-button controller in the Genesis. I mean, they had to have later in life, but most people had to go and shell out like $35 for that controller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's like $3,000 in today's money.
Okay, I got 2 picks and I've got 2 outstanding games left on the board. And beat 'em up, I got to go straight to Streets of Rage 2. And that's what I thought Randy was going to take from me. That's why I thought there was a 2 in there, because I know me and Randy vibe a lot on Streets of Rage.
Ooh, baby,
that is a good one.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about it. Go for it.
Soundtrack is unbelievable. I'm just typing this into the spreadsheet. Soundtrack is unbelievable. Co-op was amazingly fun. Level design, the characters between Blaze, Skate, Axel, and Max, the wrestler, like the giant swole dude. I thought that it took everything. So I also streamed Streets of Rage 1, which is pretty good. And it did exactly what Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did, where it just took a really good first entry and it made it incredible. I don't know. Did anyone here own the Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis?
I only had the first one. 2. I'm actually curious as to why you picked 2 over 3. I never played Streets of Rage 3.
2 is the masterpiece of the series. It really is. It's just like the music, the level design, the characters. It's just, I think 3 is pretty good, but like 2 is the one where everybody fell in love with. And it's like, I don't think it's a shade on 3, but it's almost like 3 is just going to give you a little bit more of what was perfect. And my God, the soundtrack is almost the first thing I think of. But man, those special moves were so cool. It was so fun playing with your friends. It's one of the best couch co-op games ever. And then it's just a masterpiece. It's so fun. Beat 'em ups had their heyday back then, and this was the Genesis like top tier with a bullet. Just a great game.
It's like their Turtles 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Turtles 2, I think about the X-Men game. Beat 'em ups were really, really good on the Genesis. I know their platforming was what they were known for because their mascot was their platformer, but I would say that beat 'em up is like right behind platforming as Genesis's number 2 best genre. And I'm going to go ahead and fill a very sparse category, and in shooter/action adventure, I'm going to take Gunstar Heroes. That is a solid game, and it fills our shortest, because we don't have RPG. We don't have any genres represented that really weren't represented on the Genesis. If you wanted your RPGs, you went to the Super Nintendo, right? A lot of your action adventure was more prominent on the Super Nintendo, but Gunstar Heroes is a great example of a shooter. All right. George, you are up with your 3rd pick.
Yeah, I'm going to take a fighting game because I think platform is actually still wide open. I was going to do that, but I got to take the best Mortal Kombat still on the board, and that is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Wow. That was my
100% pick. I own this and played it so much in the arcades.
Yeah, I owned 2 and 3. I actually owned them for the Super Nintendo, but still. 3 has more characters, it has better action, it has better graphics. Ultimate adds more characters than even the base version. I don't think this is not a hot take. You can't say 1 and 2 are as good as 3. You just can't.
More significant in terms of like gaming culture, yes.
Sure.
Better game. Gary, were you in on the Mortal Kombats as much as you were in on the Street Fighters on the Genesis?
Yeah. I had both of them. I played both a bunch, but I played Street Fighter maybe slightly more.
Yeah. Can we go around real quick? I want to know, who was your go-to character in Mortal Kombat? George, get us started. If you were in a tournament tomorrow and you had to pick one Mortal Kombat character.
Scorpion. Because I'm very bad at learning
Classic.
moves. His move is the easiest. Just back B. That's it.
Gary, who's your MK guy?
I
Or
was
gal.
like Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero? Yeah,
for the
you
freeze.
got some Sub-Zero energy going. Tony, what would be yours?
I always picked Sonya Blade for her flip kick, grab your head by the neck, and just flip you back over. Just keep doing it. Just keep bouncing this person around and beat them up.
Yep.
And
You're just
it's
putting
Sonya
men
Blade.
between your thighs. Classic
Yep.
Tony. Randy, who's your Mortal Kombat go-to?
I am a Sub-Zero guy. The like freezing someone was so unique at the time, and it is the ultimate troll move to just be like, "Hey, take a timeout."
Yeah.
It's so funny. It is brilliant. Whoever thought of it, and I'll throw you one even deeper. I used to play the insane Sub-Zero Mythology game back on PlayStation 1. That game is so weird. I respect it doesn't control right. They took the Mortal Kombat movement and made it a platformer. It's so weird, but I respect its weirdness.
It's one of the worst games I've ever played.
I love Sub-Zero to play. I love Sub-Zero to play as, but he always gets done dirty in the storylines. Like,
oh yeah,
he's like
Yeah.
a perpetual. He's like Finn Balor. He's just like everybody thinks he's cool until it comes time to wrestle, and then he loses every single time.
Until
He
it
wins
comes
the
time for
tournament,
Sub-Zero
shatters his
championship match, and then
elbows, his
he's looking up
shoulders.
at the lights.
If there's any
Sub-Zero
poll
was always the
quote
coolest.
from the Genesis draft, it's that Sub-Zero is Finn Balor.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, this might be cheesy, I don't know, but as soon as Smoke appeared in the Mortal Kombat games, I rocked Smoke. I loved his teleport uppercut. It was so freaking cool.
He was a
And just for
cool-looking
Gary,
character.
since you picked it, who is your Street Fighter go-to?
Ken.
I knew
Very
that
similar
one. I
in
knew
the
that
looks,
one
you
for
guys.
Gary.
You're
I was
both
originally
American Idols.
for Mortal Kombat. I was originally Raiden, but then they took him away in 3 for some reason.
They did.
So,
All right, Gary, roll us into your next pick. So far, Gary, you've got Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic, and you've got Super Street Fighter 2 and fighting.
I think platformer. I might go with Aladdin
Ooh.
because I love me some Aladdin.
Okay.
Was this one where Aladdin was different on the Genesis and the Super Nintendo? And like the
Yes.
Genesis was the Genesis was like the superior version.
The better version,
I
yes.
had no idea about that when I was a kid. I just had the Genesis version like randomly, so that's the only version I knew about, and it was the better one.
Yeah. I loved Aladdin. I had Aladdin and I had Lion King on Genesis, and both of them
Yeah.
kicked ass.
Aladdin is one of my favorite games on Genesis.
classic.
It is so good. It is definitely superior. I have played the SNES version. Why did they make 2 versions? It seems like extra
I
work.
don't know.
More
but the,
money.
Different
The
developers.
Genesis,
I don't know.
the Genesis one was used for the commercials with that meatball chasing you, and it's just like the way that some commercials stick with you. The Aladdin for Genesis commercial was so visceral, and you got like that Indiana Jones with the meatball chasing you, and I was like, this game looks intense, and you know what? It played intense. Like all that energy was in the gameplay, and they had comedy. If you threw the apple at the guard, his pants fell down. It's just like you're like there was like little comedic beats in a platformer. It had all the personality. And the Lion King one did too, but the Lion King one fumbled a little bit of the gameplay and is a notoriously very difficult game. But the Aladdin one, they hit the sweet spot. I love that game. So fun.
Yeah, that game, I didn't play as a kid because I never owned it. But I heard so many good things, particularly from you guys. As an adult, I went back and played it. Because I just had to know, you know?
It's so great. I like remember every level of that game pretty well in my head.
Have you played it, Tony?
My friend had it, so he would play. It was one of those things where we'd play sitting on the couch together. So back then you'd play a level until you couldn't beat it. Then he'd pass the controller. So when I would come over and he was playing it, I would get to play it a bit. But I remember that game was one of the few video games I remember coming out like in sequence with the movie, and it's not just a cash grab where it's like, this is a terribly ported video game, but we sold the Aladdin name. It was like, this beat by beat was the movie. You could almost watch the movie through playing the game and get the whole story, and it was fun. It wasn't just a terribly ported game with the name Aladdin tied to it because Aladdin was incredibly popular in the early 90s. It was just a really well done video game to a movie, which is hard to do nowadays. Like, it's never easy to find a good video game that matches. And it was one of those things where just, I didn't own it, but my friends did, and I always liked playing it with them.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
like Jurassic Park had two different, a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo game that were different. Sorry, Gary.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, so a few times I guess they would sell the license to like two different
Oh, of
companies,
course
like
they
to
did.
make one Super Nintendo and one Genesis version.
This discussion made me just reorder my platformers, and I'm going to pick next.
Oh, no.
Great pick, Gary.
I know what I need to
Yeah.
snipe then.
All right,
So
so
you think you do?
Tony, you are next, and in where did you take Vector Man in? You took Vector Man
An
in
action shooter.
Man, I'm getting this thing all messed up, this spreadsheet. And you've got Battletoads and Beat 'em Up.
Okay. So, everyone's been picking some good platformers, and I'll pick a platformer that I was terrible at, but love to play. I didn't really own it, but I did play it a bunch because a friend owned it or I rented it. It was X-Men. I love that game, and I was awful at it. I knew my favorite characters, and I would always pick him last, but that was usually when I would die right at the end of the game because I would pick that character, and it would be the worst level to pick them on. But it was just a fun game all around. It was one of my favorites. I owned Lion King and beat it at least twice. So that was up there, but X-Men I just enjoyed playing so much more. It was such a cool game to me because I loved X-Men in the 90s because of the cartoon.
This brings me to a point that I think about quite often with the Genesis. I had a Super Nintendo, and other than like competitive fighting games, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to play with other people on the Super Nintendo. You had a lot of single player games. With the Genesis, there was this focus on multiplayer. You could sit next to your friend and co-op a lot of things, whether it was Tails and Sonic 2, the Streets of Rage games, the X-Men games, like the Fatal Fury or Final Fight games. Like there were all these things where you could just like sit next to a friend and do it. I felt like the Genesis was one of the first systems that really prioritized multiplayer, which again made it cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Sonic and Tails. Sonic 2 really sold the Genesis, and it was a 2-player co-op with a infinite life co-op player that never died. That was a perfect little brother, little sister controller. Like, you just hand it to them and be like, I don't care what you do. You can't ruin this for me, except for the bonus levels. But other than that, like, you can just... I do remember yelling at my sister or my brother, don't touch the bombs. I don't care what you do, just don't touch the bombs at all costs.
Yeah, your siblings are in therapy about how you
yeah.
abuse them on that.
100%.
Okay. Randy, you've got
wait a minute.
two
I
picks.
do want to ask. I want to ask about X-Men. Has anyone played it?
I have.
100%.
I think I rented it. I'm pretty sure I rented it.
Who
I don't
was
think so.
your character that you loved playing as or always wanted to pick?
I
Because there was a
liked
couple you pick and
Wolverine
they
in
would
that
die.
game. Although, wasn't Psylocke playable in that game too?
I don't remember if Psylocke was. I just remember my two favorites were Wolverine and Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler was the one that was different that was in
Yeah.
that because I didn't know a lot about Nightcrawler because he wasn't in the show as much.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably I think I played Gambit, Mon Ami.
Yeah, he's a good one. He is definitely a good one.
Yeah, I never
gotta stick
owned
with my
X-Men,
Nightcrawler,
but
buddy.
my cousin had it for Genesis, and I played it every time I went to his house. Every time I was like, "Yo, can we play X-Men? Can we play X-Men?" He was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, Wolverine's the one I was always save for the end, and he would just get decimated because I would be so bad in the level and just losing guys left and right, and then Wolverine would go in and he'd just die.
Did Wolverine, was he the character that slowly regained energy in that game?
I believe so.
There were really cool little elements thrown in that game, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
Wolverine's
every character
healing
was
potential was
different.
in there. Okay.
Yeah, every character had a different ability and play style, and like you really should pick a character based on the level, but I was like 8. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just picking characters because I thought they were cool.
And the music was amazing. I'll never forget just like loading into that snowy level right at the beginning of X-Men, and then like before you work your way to the computer area. Yeah, it was great. Okay, Randy, you've got NBA Jam and Sports and Quackshot and Platformer.
I mean, I've already won, so we're just playing with house money right now. This is
Doesn't
going
have
to
a
be
Sonic game.
Well, you shut your mouth because you don't either. So this is actually you're getting ahead of me right now, because I was gonna say this is gonna be a little bit of a cleanup round for me, where I'm gonna pick two things that are a little tight on the category wise. So one of them is gonna be my Sonic game, because I think there's one obvious one and then slim pickings after that. So I am picking Sonic the Hedgehog #1, which is an incredible classic. And yes, I would agree that the sequels and things you guys picked round 1 are better. But Sonic the One, put respect on its name. You know, it's a super fun game. The Green Hill Zone is just, it is to Sonic what, World 1-1 is to Mario, where it's embedded in everybody's head. It is the introduction to this character. It's the introduction to blast processing. It is the introduction to some of the greatest music you will ever hear in your life. Vibrant colors, just like a franchise kickoff that is excellent, bundled with the system. I could go on and on and on. We all played it. And then just some of the other levels and the vibes of the game. It is slower paced in a way that's interesting to go back to, because Sonic games are known for their speed and make them run fast and get through the level as fast as you can. And these games were like more platformers, like take your time. You got to figure this out. And it's a different speed, and I respect it for what it is. I do think they got better, as sequels should get better, but this is no slouch whatsoever, and it introduced all the things we love about this franchise. I love Sonic 1, and I'm happy to pick up a Sonic game that I genuinely love, whereas I think the other ones would be a little lower on my tier. Any Sonic 1 comments?
I love Sonic 1, but Sonic 2 stole my heart first. That's my problem.
I also played Sonic 2 first.
Sonic 1 was a big deal. It's the second most important mascot in gaming history, and they created it. And the CEO, Tom Kalinske, saw the vision of it. You know, Sega of America wasn't really on board with it as much. It was a choice between a hedgehog and an armadillo and another third animal. And they ended up going with a hedgehog. And most importantly, it was a second game to be bundled with the Genesis. The Genesis was originally sold on the back of Altered Beast. And Altered Beast is a fine game, but Altered Beast is not like a system seller. Altered Beast is not like you've got Mario World coming down the pike with Super Nintendo packaging. And to pivot from Altered Beast to Sonic 1 as a pack-in game gave Sega Genesis a lot of its initial momentum. So it is super important, obviously, in the Sega Gen. I mean, arguably, it's the most important game in terms of shifting the tide to Sega in the early 90s.
For me, it always felt like a Mario game, but cranked up on the speed dial. Like a Mario game where you're not supposed to stop. Just run. Go faster. Like the best way to play it is by always pushing right.
Yeah, and it just like right out the gate, they nailed all the physics. And like 2 and 3 and these ones you love, they didn't change the physics, really. They tweaked things, but man, the way he rolls, the way his forward momentum carries, they had loop-de-loops and all these like Green Hill Zone just was a magnificent level design. Just absolutely knocked it out of the park right out the gate. Like that level is so replayable to this day. It's really incredible that they how much came together for a Mario competitor. Like, here we go. Let's go. Blast processing.
Jim Carrey's role of a lifetime established in Sonic 1.
Yeah.
Well, it unretired him.
It did. It really did. He's coming back for a fourth one.
I know.
Gary, Sonic 1. What do you think?
I love Sonic 1, except for Labyrinth Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody loves that level.
Because that zone can go to hell.
Oh.
And like, think about how it ran on the Genesis. Like, there's the only time you ever get an ounce of slowdown is when you get hit and you have like 100 rings bouncing off of you.
Mhm.
Like, compare that to the cart level armadillo in Mega Man X, and it's like, how is Sonic running so freaking smooth? It's crazy they got that power out of the Genesis.
Blast
Yeah,
processing.
that's fun.
The commercials told you.
That's right.
All right. And then for my second pick, I'm doing again some cleanup. This category I also think is going to be weird and some pickings, and I'm going to get my kicker in. I'm going hardware. And my #1 in hardware is still on the table, so I'm going to snatch it up. That is Game Genie.
Nice.
Game Genie. It's hardware accessories. This was eligible. Game Genie is such a critical part of my Genesis nostalgia that I could picture the way that shiny coloring on the label looks.
Mhm.
I just plugging it in like before Sonic and Knuckles, just like that, plugging it in. Every game experience I had on the Genesis had two experiences. What is this gameplay as, and how can I screw with it with Game Genie?
How
Because
can I cheat?
Game Genie was mods before mods. Game
Mhm.
Genie was like cheat codes. Mind blowing. And I had all the Game Genie books. I had a subscription to like the extra Game Genie books. So the original Game Genie comes with this book full of all the things you could do
Yep.
with it and the like games, but more games came out. So you got a subscription to like the thinner
The leaflets.
manuals and the leaflets. Yeah. And
Remember those?
I had all those.
I
And
love that Randy was subscribed to the Game Genie Substack. It's amazing.
It's so, yeah, it really, I think it's so early of, I use the word mods, like what games became of like, oh, you could put Macho Man in the Elder Scrolls of like all those things. It's like Game Genie let you do some things in games that you did not think were possible. And that was mind blowing and really, and it came to the Game Genie came to the other systems, but my nostalgia, I don't even know the history. I don't know which one was first, but my nostalgia with Game Genie is with Genesis, and every one of my games, I played it regular style. Then I played Let's Get Goofy style.
Game Genie was also the most resilient. I can't tell you how many game companies came after Galoob and tried to get the Game Genie banned. Nintendo claimed it was altering their game property. I mean, I'm sure George can go off on all the different ways that they tried to get rid of this thing. And that the Game Genie just survived, and it just kept coming out on systems. I had it for the Game Boy, which is how I had a Mew. I remember the old NES one where you like plugged it in and then slid it, and there was like this giant black tongue coming out of your NES. The Game Genie was like a zombie, man. You couldn't kill that thing.
Yeah, I had the Game Genie, and the scariest thing was the Game Genie, and then you go, all right, I want to play Sonic 3, but with Sonic and Knuckles and the Game Genie, and you're trying to put it all together and trying to snap this 3-controller thing in half. As you
The stack.
you're looking at this triple stacked console, and you're like, oh my god,
The leaning tower of Genie.
yeah, it was really scary when you plug in the thing and you go to plug in the last one, and you're like, it's not going in. And you jam it in, and you're like, oh, and you hear like cracking noises. Like, okay, I hope it turns on. And you push that power button, and then the logo came up. But I had Game Genie for like every system. Eventually, I think you had anyone who had a system that had carts had a Game Genie, and then eventually it's superseded by Game Shark. But like those all died off with the PS2, PS1. I mean, why wouldn't you have a Game Genie, George?
No one told me about it.
Oh my god.
I didn't know.
Aw.
You didn't have any
Wow.
cool friends?
Randy didn't tell
No.
you. Randy didn't tell fourth
Ow.
grade George to sign up for the Substack.
Yeah.
Al, my friend Al never told me. He was when we were talking video games about. I'm blaming Al if you're listening to this. You didn't tell
It's
me
so
about the
funny.
Game Genie.
It's so funny when we like so much of what we talk about, especially on this channel and this podcast, is like we come up with these nostalgic memories. But just what Tony was just describing about this 5-stack of cartridges that is like you're like shoving these in, you're blowing on them first, you're shoving them in, and they're like tilting, and you're like, none of this should work. What the heck am I doing? I'm like a miniature engineer, and it's like everything is just a digital storefront now. Like nobody who's like entering gaming now can really understand the weird stuff we were doing
And the
back then.
scariness of it all. I hope this
Gary,
turns on. I really hope it works.
Gary, do you have a Game Genie?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm a filthy
So
cheater.
did you were you signing up for the codes, or how were you getting the code,
Yeah.
Gary?
I had the leaflets like Randy did for regular Nintendo.
I
Nice.
figured Gary was writing his own codes because you could guess them and make your own codes after a
You
while.
could, yes.
Yeah, I
you
remember
could guess
punching
them.
in like random letters and numbers just to see what happens.
I imagine like Gary with like a pair of bifocals on, like 07B, enter, and like seeing what happened. All right, Tony, you are next.
Okay, so
And
what
this
do I
will
got
be the
left?
official halfway point of the draft.
So I am going to follow Randy's lead in some cleanup work here, and I'm going to pick a hardware accessory as well because they're starting to
Oh, the
thin out.
kicker, huh?
Yeah. I'm going to pick the Sega CD. And
Yeah.
only reason I picked this is because
Sorry,
of my
hardware or wild card?
hardware.
Okay.
No, hardware accessory. There's not many hardware accessories that I remember from that era, and I'm not picking a 32X because the system was almost dead when that came out.
Yes.
So I knew only one person that had it, and I think there was like 6 games for it at the time, and they weren't really that great. And that made it even crazier when you had that with a Game Genie and then games on top of it. So it was just basically it was 4 times taller than it was wide. But the Sega CD, I got that when I was a kid, and I was in love with it. I don't know why. It was a terrible add-on, but I just remember owning it and playing the games that I had for it endlessly because I wasn't going to not play them. I don't know. Did anyone else own the Sega CD?
No.
No.
Oh, there. Alex sadly raising his hand.
I bought it when it was on clearance for $20 at Walden Software, and I had like 2 games for it. I had Batman and Sewer Shark.
It came with Sewer Shark.
And Batman was super fun. And Sewer Shark was just a guy. Every time I pulled up, it was a guy eating spaghetti. Like, good job getting down the pipes. And I was like,
I couldn't
it
beat
was
Sewer
wild.
Shark for the life of me.
Yeah.
And no matter what I did, it was like, I can't figure this game out. But I still kept trying to beat it. I was like, there has to be a way to beat it. There wasn't. There was not.
To this day, no one has beaten Sewer
I'm
Shark.
pretty sure. Like, I've looked it up. I was like, oh, there's a second level? I couldn't beat the first level.
All right. Gary, you have got Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic, Platformer Aladdin, and Fighting Super Street Fighter 2.
I'm going to go from a beat 'em up and take, I think you have Comic Zone on there?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't.
I did.
Oh, George, you should
that
have
is
picked
the
better.
first absolute snipe
did.
of the
That was my
draft.
next pick.
I'm on George's wavelength tonight.
Damn. Gary, talk about Comic Zone.
Yeah, no, Comic Zone is awesome graphics. I mean, obviously it looks like a comic book when you're going through it. It's really it's a short game, but it's super hard, so like you can keep replaying it and getting better at it. And that's another one that took advantage of the 6 buttons because you had the little inventory slots up top, and you could, press the XYZ buttons, I think, to go straight to them. You got a little mouse friend in that game. So
Yeah,
it's
multiple endings.
Yeah, it was different endings. It was cool. And there's nothing really like that ever before or after that I can think of.
I was just getting into comic books at the time. X-Men were my favorite comics, although I had like a few others. And it was so cool that you would see the character walk between the comic book panels.
Yeah.
And like you would see the comic being drawn at some points like ahead of you. Like it was mind-blowing to me. I still think it's so unique. I know me and George have talked a lot about it. George, you owned Comic Zone, right?
Oh, yeah. The cartridge color was even slightly different, which is like kind of a nothing thing, but it was still pretty cool.
That game got a lot of use out of the Game Genie.
Oh my God. That was another game I kind of had to memorize. Like there were like hidden panels where you could pull the artwork back and you'd find like a piece of dynamite or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that game ruled.
Yeah, there was different ways to progress through a level.
You let your little mouse friend out and you would go sniff around the level and like pull the comic book back.
Yeah, or hit a lever or something.
Yeah.
But he could die.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
Yeah, you had to take care of him.
I don't think we've ever had a game that original and like that based around like Randy, you're huge into comics. Did you ever play Comic Zone on the Genesis?
I did, but not enough. Certainly not enough. It was a rental, and I got like a little bit into it, and then it was just one of those weekends that gets away from you. You're like, I'm not playing my rented game enough. Then it goes back, and then I never rented it again. And it's I never felt like I gave it a fair enough shake. But I remember the commercials. It was certainly in the Genesis zeitgeist, and maybe that is a good retro replay for me to give it a real fair shake.
Takes about an hour to beat. It's on Nintendo Switch Online. It's really cool.
It takes about an hour to beat, but you're not going to beat it the first 7 times.
No, it's going to kick your ass.
So you're saying it takes about 6.5 hours to beat?
Yeah. Or you could save state it, but you shouldn't. Not that one.
But you should Game Genie it.
Yeah, definitely Game Genie.
What did the Game Genie do for you in that one? Like infinite lives or what else?
I think just keeping you alive.
Which is really all you need.
I just wanted to see like the end of the game because I was never able to make it like past the like 3rd level.
Oh man. Yeah, I practiced the heck out of that game and I got both endings. I was in.
Wow. All right. George, you are up.
I'm still in shock. I can't pick comics. I thought Alex was going to take it.
It was gonna. I thought I could get it a little bit later, and then
take it.
Gary just.
I know. I'm going to take a risk that my other top picks they're still out there. I'm going to stay in beat 'em ups. I almost took Batman Forever, but I played it in the arcade, and I don't actually know that it's exactly the same on the Genesis, so I'm going to let that one go. I'm going to take Golden Axe 2.
Oh!
Whoa. Okay.
In beat 'em up.
And beat 'em up.
Wow.
Because again, I don't actually know if Batman Forever is exactly the same on the Genesis, so I can't pick it in good faith. But Golden Axe 2, I had that one. And a lot of fun. Kind of classic gameplay. You know, you got a dwarf character, you got the big barbarian, hot dude, and then you got the hot lady wearing nothing. That was classic 90s as well. It just played well. It was kind of like Streets of Rage where you would have the different sprites and they change colors. There would be a bonus level where you beat up on magical dwarves or magical elves to get their health and meat or whatever. It just had all these things where it was just a well put together game, and also different difficulties you could pick. So it would, if you really cheesed out for the easy level, you didn't get that last final mission. So that inspired me to actually try harder and beat the game. Just had a great time with it, and I think it's a big improvement over the first one. And any Golden Axe title that came after it is bad. So there you go.
Oh, so not really a hot take then. Just a mild, simple.
No, that
take.
is not a hot take. That is just a truth take.
I don't remember if it was that one or if the first one had it too, but when the little dinosaurs or whatever came out, and then you could knock them out and then jump on them. That was really cool.
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Is anyone else into the Golden Axe series? It's one that I only played at friend's house or cousin's house. I never actually owned a Golden Axe.
I think I may have played one of them once. But again, it was I don't remember when. I just remember seeing it and being like, oh, cool. And didn't play it after that. I tried it once. I was like, this is a beat 'em up from the 90s. It was definitely later, in the 2000s I played it.
Yeah, it's nothing innovative. It was just really well done.
Yeah.
It's one of those the name is so synonymous with gaming, but I couldn't tell you if I've ever played it.
I think I grabbed it, Randy, from Cash Converters when it first opened. It was in a giant bin of clearance games. It was like $2 or something.
The local pawn shop in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, Cash Converters, where I got my first guitar.
Wow. Where I bought a Sega Dreamcast for $20.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are good times.
Oh man, we all got life-changing stuff from that store.
Okay, I am going to in platformer.
Oh my god, it's your turn again? You've been so quiet for so long.
I know. That Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is just doing a lot of work for me.
Yeah, that's heavy lifting for you.
I know. Okay, there are 3 really amazing games still left in platformer, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Rocket Knight Adventures in platformer.
You're biased.
I just played it recently.
Biased.
Yes.
You are a possum knight who hangs upside down by his tail on trees as platforming. It is amazing. There are evil possums in the game. You're saving a possum princess. The platforming is really good. It is difficult. It is up there with Rystar as a very underrated platformer for me on the Genesis. I feel like it is great value here in the 4th round. And in fighting, I'm going to take the game.
Wait. Alex, how did you not make your little Zoom chat name Possum Princess?
You had the opportunity.
Okay, for the next draft, I will be Possum Princess.
I think you need to be Possum Princess on this chat on this podcast for the rest of time.
Okay, sounds good.
Also, can we talk about how that game is not even in my top 5 platformers? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even have that written down. I remember seeing it when I was a kid going, this looks interesting, but never picked it up.
Although I think
played a little. It is fun.
I think that's also because the category is so deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all going to pick out games and go, oh, I didn't even think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even think about Rystar, which came out really late, like Vector Man 2. And Rystar may not even be in the top 5 of a lot of people's platformers. And that's a really another excellent. I mean, it's still out there to be drafted, but it's a really another excellent platformer. Man, the 16-bit just got platformers so correct. You know, like you look at Donkey Kong Country and Mario on there, and then the Genesis had the glut.
Yeah, they didn't get into 3D to mess it up.
It was also like a lot of the licensed stuff was good. You know, like Aladdin being one of the big ones that's taken so far. I won't like tilt what like other good ones are in case anybody wants to take them, but like there was some hits, like a lot of the Marvel stuff was good. X-Men, you know,
X-Men was excellent.
Like the license didn't have the stink on it quite so much yet.
You could thank the PS2 era for that.
I mean, they had a game licensed by a soda company.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cool
Cool
Spot.
Oh, I mean that is
That
like
is
one of the
classic.
Cool Spot
Classic.
is a rental store classic.
Yeah.
Like everyone rented
Yeah.
that game. I can't imagine it. I never knew a person who owned it.
It's just always there. Like they would like put that one front and center in the Genesis section of being like,
That
It was probably
is-
like it was probably a Blockbuster 7-Up like collab. It was like
Yep.
you always have to have this on the top shelf.
I would call that your. I have a 99 fever, and I'm staying home from school, and my mom was nice enough to rent me a video game, and she rented me Cool Spot. It was that or Bob Barker was your person that kept you company while you were home from school that day.
All right. With my next pick, I'm going to take Infighting, the game that officially, in addition to Sonic 1, turned the tides for Sega, created enough controversy in Nintendo's approach to games, and it has the most legendary commercial ever, Mortal Kombat!
Okay, you sniped it from me.
This was, everyone remembers ABAC, the Mortal Kombat blood code. Before internet, kids at the playground one time told me that code, and I somehow carved it into my brain and have never forgotten the blood code ever.
Written on the inside of your skull.
It's what redefined, like it's what really set Sega apart as like the cool adult company. They had the blood. It was gross gray sweat in Mortal Kombat 1. People were writing letters to Nintendo saying like, stop censoring our games. I will choose what to buy for our kids. And it was such backlash that when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, Nintendo just said, okay, you can have the full Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo. Who here had Mortal Kombat on Genesis?
My cousins did.
I had it.
Did you know the blood code, Randy?
Oh, of course. The blood code was like it felt sacrilegious to start playing the game without blood. You had to get that in there right away. Every time you booted it up, it was important. I agree with you. It was certainly the first of everybody remembers like Grand Theft Auto controversies in culture, but Mortal Kombat's the OG. Mortal Kombat is the godfather of mature controversy with video games, and God bless that franchise. It's so special in gaming and deserves its, being on up there as some of the greatest insanity and the fatalities and just all that stuff from out the gate. And also, it was also part of the NBA Jam tradition of here are things you play in the arcade you really freaking love, and the home console version is super playable, super fun. Like I said with NBA Jam, the graphics are a little different, but they're not like the smoothness of it, the frame rate of it. You're not playing lesser there. And Mortal Kombat is super fun on Genesis.
Gary, for you, what was it like? Because Street Fighter and then Mortal Kombat comes out, and it's these hyper-realistic graphics, right? It was almost like that motion capture form of animation. Like, which did you play first?
I think I played Mortal Kombat, the original first.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Street Fighter is a little more cartoony. But yeah, the fatalities were the craziest part because you never knew what was coming.
Yeah. I remember, what was his name? It was Senator Lieberman, right? Was it?
Yeah.
I remember where he kept calling it like Mortal Kombat, and it was like he was coming after that and Night Trap, which like, okay. I mean, Night Trap sold 6 copies and Mortal Kombat's in every home. Maybe
Is that what kicked
two more
off like the
relative
whole
games.
rating
Yeah.
system thing?
Part of
Yes.
Like that game, that's what kicked off like the whole rating system, right? Yeah.
That was the demand for rating systems somehow.
Which, not
Which
for
is-
nothing, the rating system is actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
good
you
for
look
him, I
back
guess.
now.
The rating system. So I
makes
don't know if
sense.
you ever look at the old covers on Genesis, but Genesis was actually putting their own ratings on game. When you get a copy of like Gunstar Heroes and it says GA, general audience, Sega games were getting a rating. And then stuff with Mortal Kombat went so crazy that they forced it to be like the whole ESRB. But yeah, you're right, Gary. It was an inciting incident for the ESRB.
Yeah. I remember not being able to like afford like the magazines and stuff, so I would take like little notepads into like Toys R Us or whatever and like jot down all the special moves and the fatality and all the button combinations, crazy things you had
It's
to
amazing.
push.
Dude,
And
strategy
Mortal
guides
Kombat-
were like $15.
Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
we were
is still
struggling back then because
pioneering
like, games were like
controversies.
60, $70 back then.
I know.
Like when they had the California bill to ban the sales of violent video games, and it went to the Supreme Court, literally they talked about Mortal Kombat. I think for the Kinect, because the dissenting liberal justices are like, yeah, but you can rip out someone's spine literally with your hands, and like the old fogies on the conservative side like didn't understand that was a thing, so like they glossed it over. And I was like, oh, well, I'm glad it came down where we didn't ban the video games, but yeah, Mortal Kombat pushing the envelope again.
It was also crazy. Like it was similar to like when the Wii had Manhunt and you could like slice the guy's like throat. Like there's always those moments where maybe it just goes a little too crazy. All right, George, you are back around.
I got all hot and bothered by Mortal Kombat. I didn't think about this.
There's still a Mortal Kombat on the board, and I will say
No,
Mortal
I got a
Kombat
fighting
1
game.
Mortal Kombat 1 is the least fun of the three games themselves, like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 2. But for me, it speaks so much about what differentiated the Genesis.
So I'm just going to assume that my number one picks are kind of weird and they're not going to get picked for these other categories. But to go to sports, rock and roll racing, I got to grab that while it's still on the board.
Talk about it.
Rock and roll racing was made by Blizzard, and it's not a pure, again, it's another like arcadey game. You know, you're not doing a whole bunch of tracks and racing against standard, whatever, bland characters. You're in basically monster trucks with rockets, oil slicks, and like tire traps that you just can lay down. So it's basically a racing battle game. And it is so much fun. I mean, there is a little campaign mode where you're going to play against the AI, but this is one where you wanted to play against other people. And really, such a blast. I would play this 9 times out of 10 over any racing game on this generation of consoles.
Okay. Did anyone else play rock and roll racing?
I have never heard of it.
Oh, no.
Like super off-road for the Genesis? Was it little like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Or was it more of like
No.
traditional racing?
It was, well, everything was on one screen. So it's
okay.
just one track that would fit on your screen because the cars are really small and you're looking at it from, I guess it's like an isometric view.
Mhm.
And you're doing your laps. There's 4 vehicles on the track and you're just messing each other up. And it's also got, oh man, was Aerosmith on the soundtrack? Like it had real legit music.
Wow. Okay.
I played a
Yeah,
game
I
I
similar
guess
to
no
that.
one was going to pick that.
Aerosmith? No, you had no
You
threat
had-
to that one.
I played something like that on the SNES, but it was not this one. It was like the
Aerosmith
Aerosmith
few
was
of those.
a game called Revolution X, which was Midway.
Yeah, I'm going to look up now who was on the soundtrack because it was really good.
I love how you opened it by saying, "Oh, I got to get this one before anybody snatches."
I'm shocked that you guys have never played this. I really am.
But again, George thought the Comic Zone was going to be there for a while. Like you got to get your loves
he
when you can.
sat on Comic Zone for 4 rounds.
Well, here's also the deal. Like nobody else was taking Quackshot except one other guy.
Right.
And
He sniped that from one person.
so I know that the Genesis Reddit's going to be like, why did this guy pick Quackshot number 1? And I'm like, I was
Out the
racing Gary, and you know what? It is a number 1
Yeah,
draft.
worked out.
It deserves it. So
It does.
I'm already defending that move.
But the people that know about Quackshot are just immediately going to fall in love with you and start sending
They'll
you DMs.
understand, Randy.
They'll get
I know.
It. They'll get it.
But if you know, you know.
Wow.
Okay, it was just generic rock soundtracks, but they were really good. There was no actual bands. Listen, the people
was
that know rock
Team
and roll
Aerosmith,
racing, they're
yeah.
going to know.
Yeah. Gary, you are up. This is your
No.
5th pick.
Let's go with my action adventure one.
Oh, I
I'm
think
gonna-
I have a guess for this.
You have a guess?
Yeah, Gary,
That's
do
one
you
I
think
know.
I'm going to be right? Do you think I'm going to be right?
I'm gonna go
Is it Fantastic Dizzy?
Oh
It's
That-
not?
no!
But it might be
Oh!
now.
You just changed his whole pick.
Wait, he just changed his mind in real time.
Now we got him on the
that
clock.
wasn't in there, was it?
Wait, is that not the game where you go into first person at some point when you go into a crane game? That's not right. That's you're not talking about.
I don't know
I
what
don't
that is.
remember that one.
Oh, okay. Well, you played Fantastic Dizzy on NES, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a Genesis version on this list.
I was gonna go with Toe Jam and Earl.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah, there you
that's a good one.
Toe Jam and Earl's good. Yeah, talk about it, Gary.
I don't know. I like that. That was like what do you call those games? The ones that like change randomly each time.
Oh, like a rogue.
Roguelike,
Like
yeah.
Procedurally generated.
So that was you had the preset one, but you could change it over so it's like a different experience every time. And I like that. That was really cool for like playing it over and over. And you know, you get to play with a friend. There's just some wacky stuff happens in that game.
Oh yeah, I like the quick time event dancing that they would do,
Yeah.
which was like really fun. Toe Jam and Earl were just oozed personality.
Yeah. They
And
did
there were
like
other games that oozed personality, like Earthworm Jim, which I didn't really enjoy. But Toe Jam and Earl was one of those games that like oozed and was fun to play.
I mean, there's been so many sequels since too. It's kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the original SpongeBob almost, like the two wacky main characters just kind of walking around a weird world.
I like this little secret where you drop down like into like Zero Land or whatever, and then you can get into a hop tub with the hula girls.
Yep. That and Ren and Stimpy are why we are who the humans we are today.
Say it felt very much like a Ren and Stimpy the video game, without
Yeah.
being Ren and Stimpy.
Which is
All right.
eligible to be picked.
Yes.
Have any of you guys you all played Toe Jam?
Oh yeah, and they were like, they really did also feel like it's funny. I remember all these commercials and all these like attempts to launch franchises and attempts to launch characters, but there was also like this weird grossness with the
Mhm.
Genesis
Yeah.
that was part of its brand, like the mature, the grossness. Toe Jam and
Boogerman.
Earl was like a Ren and Stimpy type franchise. Gross out kind of culture just like feels like so 90s. Ren and Stimpy being one of the biggest things. Beavis and Butthead, Toe Jam and Earl. Just like, what were we doing back then?
I don't know.
All games on the Genesis.
I mean, you had Earthworm Jim, you had Boogerman, you had all these like really weird, gross games.
You had Howard Stern as he had a superhero called Fart Man, and he would just come out with his ass hanging out. It's like the 90s are the grossest freaking decade. We're just like boogers and farts. We're just like,
They're all
what were
funny.
we doing?
We were just making content for Wario, basically.
Oh. Like, yeah, Wario's poster child.
It's all just setting the stage for Shrek.
That's true. All right, Tony, you got three categories left. You've got Sonic, Sports, and Wild. Oh no, you have four. You have Sonic, Sports, Fighting, and Wild Card.
Yeah, I still got a around the loop pick here after Randy's double pick. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's a good snipe somewhere in there, but I don't think I got it. I think
Tony, I just got to remind you, Rock and Roll Racing has been taken.
yeah, rock and roll racing. Okay,
You
good.
guys all missed out.
Just okay. I'm aware that the game no one's ever heard of has been taken. Got it.
I mean, NBA Jam was my number one. Let's
yeah.
be serious.
Well, all right. Who didn't put NBA Jam as their number one? I'm gonna go for a fighting because I'm a little shy in that because I don't have a lot of fighting, and Alex took my number one pick, which is Mortal Kombat 1.
All right, so I'm the only one you could snipe from. I'm curious if you're going to snipe mine. I'm very curious.
There's two left that I know of that were popular. I'm
Eddie
trying to
Mosa.
think which one you might have picked. And I think I'm gonna take the one you probably like better. I'm gonna take Clay Fighter.
Ooh.
All right.
I remember playing this like on a rental game, probably because my brother rented it because he thought it was interesting, and I was like, I don't like fighter games, but he rented it so we would play it, and it was just silly and weird to like beat the guys up and like smash them into the ground and they'd come back as like clay characters. So it was like a Mortal Kombat, but without being live action people, but just weird characters. And I remember playing again the same game in like the N64 era, and it was one of the few games where their joke was everything had 64 in it, and theirs was Clay Fighter 63 and a third.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a little clever. But
Yeah.
I remember playing Clay Fighter and just loving that as one of the few fighting games I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, Clay Fighter was one of the. I remember it was a Nintendo Power cover, and I still remember like the box art for it too. I'd always see it at the rental store.
The snowman guy.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
Clay
was the
Fighter.
giant banana.
I am a banana. All right, Randy, you've got 2 picks coming. You better
Okay.
you better shore up some areas before Tony try to take something from you on the turn.
I know this is tough. This is tough. I'm taking a second here just to look at where I'm lacking. I gotta get there. Beep bop boop bop bop beep bop boop. All right, we're gonna go. Okay, action adventure shooter. I'm competing with George in that category. He's got one left. All right, I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna go with beat 'em up. Beat 'em up. Everybody's taken one already, but this is one that I feel is good enough. It could be snagged in wild card.
I'm going to guess
This
it.
is. Go for it.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
No, believe it or not.
That's
No.
a Sonic game that he wanted to pick.
Yeah.
This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Hyperstone Heist.
Ooh.
So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is an excellent, synonymous with the beat 'em up genre. And of this era, there's no doubt about it. The king is Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time is the
Yeah.
one that's in the arcades. Turtles in the Time that, much to my chagrin, went to SNES. But Turtles in Time is one of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time. No doubt. But just because that's true doesn't mean that Hyperstone Heist isn't an excellent game. And Hyperstone Heist, guess what? Is an excellent game. Super smooth, super fun. Turtles beat 'em up, blast processing. It's an incredible game. I beat it multiple times. Just great. Some of that couch co-op. The Turtles don't miss. It's just one of those little brother energies where Turtles in Time stole all its thunder. And I don't disagree. Turtles in Time is magnificent. But has anybody else here played Hyperstone Heist?
I had Turtles in Time for Super Nintendo.
Me too.
I played it once. I might have played it with you too.
Probably with Randy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Probably.
Is it in the Cowabunga
It's-
collection?
it's
'Cause then
definitely
I'll get
fun.
to it.
I have no idea what collection it's in. It's just one of those ones where it's just got like a little shadow cast upon it that it got a little lost to time. I can remember the intro. The intro was really Genesis cool graphics of just showing the turtles, rise up, and it had a nice little intro cutscene. It's a really fun game, but it's the little brother of those two. So that is my beat 'em up. Nobody has played it, so nobody can talk about it. And we're
Now you
gonna
know
go
how I
to.
feel.
That's fine. Now we're gonna go to my fighting game, and my fighting game is a Genesis ass game. This game is Genesis as hell, and this is dinosaurs fighting dinosaurs. This is Primal Rage.
Ah, that was my other pick. I was going to
Good
snipe
pick.
that from you, and I didn't pick it.
When you said Clay Fighter, I knew that was the other one on your brain.
Yep, those are my
I
two.
knew it.
Those are my two
And if-
picks.
And I don't care about Clay Fighter as much, so you left me the one I wanted.
Yeah.
So thank you. Primal Rage is goofy as hell. It is so Genesis looking, like it's just of an era. It's super fun. It's bloody. It's weird. It's got like monkeys in there, and it's
It has
King
a lot
Kong.
of
and
farting. I set the trend with you because there's the dinosaurs definitely fart in this game.
It's just crazy. And also, I was thinking Gary is a Bloody Roar fan. And it just feels like a little precursor to Bloody Roar of just these beasts just going at it. And Primal Rage is wild. And I will pick up and play Primal Rage anytime. I don't think I got stiffed in the fighting genre at all because Primal Rage is still a banger. And yet, colorful, cool looking, and in an era where Jurassic Park is so popular, who doesn't want to jump into a Velociraptor and just start biting your friend? It's fun as hell, and it's bloody. It's like it was on that Mortal Kombat trend of like, yeah, that's blood. You don't even need a code for Primal Rage. So it was a little later in the Genesis life cycle, so the graphics look really nice. Has anybody here played Primal Rage? Tony has.
I messed around with it. Yeah, it's
that was
fun.
definitely a crazy fun game. I love being the Raptor. I was terrible at it, but I remember being the Raptor a lot, just because Jurassic Park had come out recently, and I was like, I want to be the dinosaur. This is going to be so much fun.
I remember Primal Rage having like they had like a version of fatalities. I can't remember what it was. It was like a finishing move. But I remember to do it, I had to like hold 3 buttons and then like press a series of directional pads. I don't think I ever got one to go off. But that was definitely in the zeitgeist. I remember there were commercials for Primal Rage, and it was definitely a game they played on Nick Arcade. Like, that's what I could say.
Is Primal Rage the one where you could like make the guy's heart burst?
It could have been.
Or was that like a sequel?
That sounds like every fighting game on the Genesis, to be honest.
You got
no,
to
like there was a meter at the top of the screen, and like their heart would explode.
Yes. Well, no, I'm looking at it now. It was a brain.
Oh, it was a brain.
Yeah, there's like a brain. Oh, no, there's a heart and a brain.
You see, there you go.
Yeah, it was so weird. It's just like everything we were talking about. And the graphics are really good. I'm watching an animated GIF right now. It's so bloody. It's definitely one of the like fatalities. But there's also like, what's that like parallax kind of like background that like, SNES did a lot. Where,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It looks almost 3D. It almost looks like it could be on PlayStation, but it was just Genesis doing its tricks. It's really good looking. The graphic, I would say it's among the best Genesis graphics for real.
And again, another one of those like hyper realistic like graphics. Street Fighter had the cartoony, and Clay Fighter did, and then Primal Rage and Mortal Kombat were more of those like kind of like realistic looking characters.
Yeah, you had like you tail whips. You're just like smacking your friend in the face with your big dinosaur tail. Dinosaurs are forever cool. So,
Mm-hmm.
And
Tony, did you own Primal Rage?
I did not own it. It was another one of those rental things.
Nice.
Blockbuster put a lot of time into Blockbuster, and I think it was Hollywood Video was the other one near us.
I also did not own it, but it is a multi-time rental.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, Tony, you are up with 3 picks left.
Okay. So I think I'm safe in the Sonic category, and it's obvious already what I'm going to pick for Sonic, but I am going to start off with our wild card, and I'm going to take a weird one. And I feel like I'm sniping this one from George. I'm taking Sonic Spinball for my wild card.
Go for it.
Wait, Tony sniped himself.
Yeah,
Tony,
actually.
There's still a good Sonic game left.
Okay,
Why
you could put
wouldn't-
it.
why
You put it in
why
Sonic,
wouldn't you
and
put
then
it
you
in
can pick
Sonic
anything else.
so you have more wild card
No,
options?
this is a good
The
wild
first
card.
self-inflicted wound of the draft.
No, this is a good wild card. Sonic Spinball is good.
There is no mathematical world where this is a good move. There is no world where this is a good move.
He
Yes.
feels like Sonic Spinball is a better application of a wild card game. I agree with it. Go on.
Yes.
Tony.
There's not many more games to pick in that wild card.
The
There's
Sonic
nothing left.
category is
It's great.
wide open.
This draft just went crazy.
What's wide open, George? Do you think it's wide open?
Because wild could
Just
be
go,
anything.
go, Tony.
Yeah,
just
for
go.
wild card. No,
Just let him have
wild
it.
card is wide open, but I had Sonic Spinball, and I remember playing the absolute shit out of the game, just loving the music and loving playing it. It was just a fun game because I loved pinball when I was a kid, and Sonic Spinball. I remember playing it a ton at like the pinball that came with Windows when you got it, and like anywhere you could find pinball games, they would hide them in different operating systems. But Sonic Spinball was a way to play on the Genesis and like actually enjoy. And eventually, you could play. I think you could even play with Knuckles if you got through like a special code. Of course, they had to bridge more lock-in technology usage. But I mean, George, I know you've gone at length on Sonic Spinball in
It's
the
so good.
Sonic 2 podcast.
I don't question the quality of the pick. Sonic Spinball is, and I'm going to say this also as a lover of pinball. Sonic Spinball is so much fun. It was difficult,
Oh yeah.
but I also like that you could control Sonic in the air
Mm-hmm.
to keep yourself moving. And all 4 levels are bangers. Music was good. There's like bonus stuff you could do. Yeah, I'm into it.
I played Sonic Spinball. Definitely a rental type deal, but I remember or maybe at somebody's house. And I remember thinking, like, never having an interest in it too much, playing a little bit, and then kind of getting hooked, just kind of playing longer than I thought I was going to, and getting hooked into it. And it is weird, but love the swing, you know? It's Mario takes swings and someone puts together 2 and 2 that, Sonic becomes a ball and this is something we could do with him. And I love that, you know? Also, you know, side shout out to Pokemon Pinball, which is like one of the greatest pinball side quest franchise games of all time. I love Pokemon Pinball, but we are talking Genesis. This Sonic Pinball's fun.
I had it for the
Available
Game
on Switch
Gear.
Online.
Yeah, I had it for the Game Gear, and it was a really fun travel game because I could pick it up and play it for like an hour or two at a time before my batteries were on fire for the Game Gear. But yeah, no, it was, and Pokemon Pinball too. I think Pokemon Pinball had like a tilt built into the control of the game cart, so you could like
Yes.
move the Game Boy and kind of tilt it. So yeah, a lot of good pinball games on these older consoles. Gary, I felt like you would have been a spinball guy. Did you have it back in the day?
Yeah, and I played a bunch. It got really difficult once you got past like the third level or second level.
Yes.
it did.
Yeah, I
streamed it a
never
couple
made it
months
that
ago.
far.
Yeah, I streamed it a couple months ago and having to try to get past the second level. It was so freaking hard.
Yeah.
Okay. We have gone back around to Gary.
Oh,
Gary,
no.
you've got 3 picks left. And open, you have sports, wildcard, and hardware/accessory.
I think I might take for my sports game NHL 97.
NHL 97. Nice.
Just because that's the one I happen to have.
I was thinking about 98 because that's the one I happen to have.
Another biased pick.
Yeah, but I don't know. Hockey games, they're kind of fun. I mean, if you have some friends to play with, that's also fun too.
They also had some excellent NHL games. I'm thinking about another NHL game for a pickup for mine as well. Yeah, was there a season mode in that? Did you play the season mode at all, Gary, or did you mostly play exhibition?
I just played exhibitions to have fun, but yeah.
Yeah, these were some of the first games that had the ability to play the full season of a sport, which was such a big deal. A game that I'm not going to pick because I went back and played it recently. It's so bad, but there's this game called World Series Baseball. And I must have played like 80 games of it because it was the first game ever with a season mode. It was like the first time that WWF Attitude came out, that video game, you could do a full season in wrestling. Anytime you could do that, it's such a no-brainer. But
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go for the Dick Vitale game, Gary. Do you remember playing that? We played
That was on the computer.
Yeah, but there was a port of
Was
it on
it
the
on here?
Sega Genesis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have went with that for sure.
Yeah. The Dick Vitale game on Genesis, I thought was going to be a snipe from you too.
Oh.
Okay.
Also, not for nothing, most of us growing up in New Jersey, you know, the Devils were really good in the NHL games of that era. So
Yeah,
like,
hockey was a lot
NHL
more
98, I
popular in the
made
90s.
myself as a character, played a
Yeah.
season, and we're all topped 100 goals on the first line.
The hockey games were really good of this era, and people are very nostalgic for them. And you know, sports games kind of aged the best, I think, in a way, because as long as you can have some smooth gameplay, like graphics don't matter too much. The rules of the sport are in there. You know,
I always turned icing off though.
You always
Yeah.
turn icing off?
Yeah, in an NBA Live, I would turn off out of bounds.
Oh my God.
I would in FIFA 98 for PS1, I would run when the goalie had a goal kick, I would run and slide tackle him. And you get a red card immediately, but it's so funny to do that. By the end, you're playing with like 8 players versus 8 players because you've just red carded out half your team because you keep slide tackling the goalie. And then later games, they took that out. You can't even touch the goalie. And I'm like, wait, that was fun. Let me do that.
Give me an NFL blitz environment in my FIFA
Yeah.
games.
Randy showed me Rock the Rink for PS1. That game is amazing.
Yeah, I honestly, if I win this draft, which I definitely already have, I think a PS1 draft would go hard.
Wow.
That's a lot of things to choose from.
Wow. Tony would just #1 pick Metal Gear Solid. Let's go.
Yeah, over and over and over. Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid the remake, Metal Gear Solid the port.
Amazing. All right, George, you are up.
action shooters is a small category. Here's my off-the-wall pick. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Did anyone actually play this?
I've heard of it, I think.
Okay.
This is another Genesis ass, gross, weird game. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
right in that Genesis wheelhouse.
Although I did play it for the Super Nintendo, I have to admit. But same game. And this weird thing, it definitely it sort of just channels all the tropes for horror games. You've got zombies walking around, you got to save the cheerleaders, but there's also like I think there's werewolves. In fact, tourists you could save will turn into werewolves on some levels. There's different weapons you could pick up. There's, of course, passcodes to keep yourself going, because you get to a certain point where you're at like level 25 and all your lives are not there, because I think the people you have to save are your lives or something. There's bonus levels. It's just, I don't know. It's such a odd game. It's really hard to channel what it is you do in this thing. But if you haven't played it, it's really dumb and worth it.
Yeah, it was another rental store classic for me. I rented it on the Super Nintendo. I got about like an hour and a half in, but it definitely had a lot of personality. The colors were very vibrant.
Yeah.
And I remember like it stayed on those, Nintendo Power had like the rankings in the back of the magazine, and Zombies Ate My Neighbor was there. Like, it was how I knew the game. It was always in like the top 20 rankings in Nintendo Power. Okay, I've got 2 picks. All right. Still a lot of good sports games available.
There's so many.
I know what George is going to take. The game that
You do?
shares his name. But I'm going to go ahead in sports, and I'm going to take NHL 94. This was the one that I owned, and it is so fun to play on the Genesis. I feel like it was between NHL 94 and I kind of wanted maybe like WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, but I'm going to go with the tried and true, the one that I put a lot of time in, the one that I would play seasons on. So NHL 94. So me and Gary got some NHL games going. And I don't think anyone's going to take my hardware. So I'm going to go into wild card.
Don't worry, Sonic Spinball's taken. You can't take it. The best wild card has already been taken.
There's 3 massive games still available. And I'm going to take one of them off the board. I'm going to take Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition. Right? That is different from Super Street Fighter 2.
Wait a minute. Hold
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
This is kind of going against the rule precedent you set up in the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
this feels a little bit against it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna put the kibosh on you, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I took
Street
Mortal
Fighter
Kombat
2.
3, but Mortal Kombat 3
Street
was
Fighter
not taken.
2 is in the name.
That's true. Okay, you are correct. Then I will go ahead and grab Streets of Rage 3 in wild card.
You say another Street
All right.
Fighter.
What did you go to say Street Fighter again?
Streets of Rage 2 Booger and Fart Edition.
Yeah. I'll take Streets of Rage 3. Now, Streets of Rage 3 is excellent. It's just not as good as 2, in my opinion. It also has like the Robot Sex OST, the Robot Sex soundtrack, that it could be a little hit or miss. But no, Streets of Rage 3 is, again, just a game becoming more mature, more cool. And the best thing was there's friendly fire in the Streets of Rage. So you're sitting next to your friend on the couch, and all of a sudden you grab him from behind and give him a slam and be like, oops, that was a mistake. And then you do it again the next level. So
The best was the skater guy. What was his name?
Skate.
Yeah, Skate. No, he had the move where you jump on your friend's back and punch him in the head.
yes.
And that is so funny to do to your friend. You're like, you would trigger it accidentally. You would jump on his head and you're just like, get off of me.
It was a real oops desk pop moment.
Yeah, exactly. That was always the best friendly fire move.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to have 2 Streets of Rage games in my draft. I feel like that is one of the key series on the Genesis.
Did you play 4?
Yes. Played it on the
Yeah.
Switch. Really liked it.
4
Very
is
enjoyable.
excellent. Gary and I beat that together.
4 was great.
4 is really good.
There's only been 4 Streets of Rage games in 20 some odd or 30 some odd years. That's crazy to me. You would think they would have milked that so much more.
I love the soundtrack so much. I know it's been said already, but it's so unique. It is just so, the vibes are immaculate. You would beat, clear the screen, and then you wouldn't move forward. You wouldn't be in a rush to move forward because you would vibe out a little bit.
Yep. Until the arrow was like bong, bong.
Yeah, the arrow is like, hey, come on, you got to keep moving here.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like Sonic tapping the toe. Yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
unfortunately, you get to like the N64 era, and beat 'em ups kind of go by the wayside because everyone just wanted to be 3D exploration. But we're in a renaissance of beat 'em ups now, and so we're revisiting, Streets of Rage, Double Dragon,
The
River City.
system that brought him back was Xbox 360 because you had Castle Crashers,
Yes.
which was one of the best, is like top tier, one of the best beat 'em ups ever. I love Castle Crashers. And you also had the Scott Pilgrim game, so Xbox 360 was, after that long drought, when they started to come back. So thank you to that system for bringing that genre back.
Yeah, Gary introduced me to Xbox Live Arcade. I went to his house, and he had like Ikaruga and Castle Crashers and Luminous and like all these amazing games on his Xbox Live Arcade. Like I immediately went and like started dabbling because I would do that. I would buy like the $20 games on Steam, but I didn't associate it with consoles yet. And then good old Gary taught me the way of the indie game.
Good old Gary.
Good old Gary.
Oh, I know that website.
Okay, George, you've got your penultimate pick here.
I'm going to go with a platformer that none of you were going to pick, as is this whole draft. Actually, my top 5, no one has touched. There's so many platformers.
That's true.
There's a lot of platformers.
I'm going to go with Hook. Hook is another licensed one. I think it just slaps.
Hook slaps. You heard it here first.
That's right. So Hook is one that does follow the movie, which is also one of my favorite movies. You start the first few levels as just regular Peter Panning, and you got to make your way through. And then you beat Rufio. Yeah, I'm spoiling the movie Hook, I guess.
Oh, wow. Why don't you spoil the Sixth Sense while you're at it?
How could I 30 years later? You get the sword that you need to turn to Peter Pan. And when you have the sword, you can fly, you can shoot, further out like you're playing Zelda. And there's just all these, this motley crew of pirates that you're beating up. And each level has its own boss. That's, for the most part, every boss is really fun to play. It's not the most difficult game, but it's just a fun game. Single player, but, that worked for me.
Yeah, this was a rental for me as well. Never beat it, but super colorful for the Genesis, though.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I feel like you could throw in like Hook, Aladdin, Lion King, like they're all of the same band of quality. It's just which one did you get your hands on?
I mean, there's one I'm considering for my wild card, but my wild card hasn't been selected yet, so we'll see what I land on.
I would have mentioned which ones I didn't pick because I think they're all great, but I'm going to hold off.
Yeah, and if once we get to the end of the draft, we can go around. If anyone has any honorable mentions, any games that didn't get picked that they was on their short list, that'd be really, really great to hear about. Okay, Gary, second to last pick.
It's wild cards anything?
It's wild,
Anything.
Gary. It's wild card. That's why I picked
anything
Sonic
that's related to a
Spinball,
Sega
the
Genesis.
best one.
So what if I
Gary,
pick
get
3D
wild.
Blast? There's nothing left for Tony.
Yes. Yes.
That's an offensive pick.
Oh, Sonic 3D Blast.
No.
Oh, okay. Gary doesn't have the thirst for blood that the rest of us do.
What did I do? I don't know.
You've got hardware and wildcard open, Gary.
Take your time, Gary. I'll vamp.
Yeah.
La, 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 la,
There was
la,
something I
la.
had in mind, but I already forgot.
Was it the
Oh, it was
32X?
Tasmania. Tasmania.
yeah,
was the
Tasmania.
wild card.
Tasmania, okay.
Let's go.
I played this one.
So yeah, my friend Dan had this randomly. We used to play it a ton, and it was just weird. The graphics were really cool. Like it was well animated.
Yeah.
Much like Quackshot, you'd eat the peppers and breathe fire. And there was a cool minecart level near the end. It was
That's
just
a
silly
randomly.
game.
That is a rare sentence in a video game. A cool minecart level. Usually that's a
Yeah, right.
frustrating minecart
Oh,
level.
it was frustrating for sure.
Tasmania
It wasn't
was a
the
Genesis
easiest game.
banger.
Yeah. A lot of the platforms were tough until you like learn the patterns and whatever. But yeah, I
So
played a lot. It was fun.
I have nostalgia for this, but it like in a roundabout way because I had it for Game Gear. I had Tasmania for Game Gear, and those Game Gear games I just played to death. And I had that one, and I had like this Wile E. Coyote one, and it just like that's all I had was licensed games. It's like the ones that sold well for a reason, but the Game Gear ones were much more hit or miss than the Genesis ones. The Tasmania one I could get pretty far in. Like that was a game that was cobbled together like. It made sense on Game Gear. But the Wile E. Coyote one had a straight up glitched out level that was insane. And I remember playing, it would always be like level 5 or 6. And I remember getting to that level and being like, is this intentional? Like, did I just like trip down Willy Wonka's like trippy wormhole? Or is this, and then only years later, I'm like, nah, my cart was probably just a little busted.
Tasmania would be weird because the whole point of the game is to eat stuff with Taz and then like spin around. But sometimes you'd eat stuff and he'd just blow up and die. And you're like, well, wait a minute.
The bombs.
Yeah, don't eat the bomb.
Don't eat a bomb. George, what are you doing? Don't eat the bombs.
I'm sure in Looney Tunes, Taz could eat the bomb.
Yeah.
It's like an episode of Hot Ones, yeah.
That is a classic video game trope. If you eat a pepper, you're going to spit fire for a little while.
All right, Tony, back around to you. Take your Sonic game.
All right, so Gary, you were not going to snipe my Sonic choice with Sonic 3D Blast.
I can't do that.
There is a much better Sonic game that came out. It's called Sonic CD.
I had a feeling Tony was going to pick this, and I'm going to call shenanigans on it.
That's some shenanigans.
Why not Sonic CD?
Sonic CD.
Why not Sonic CD?
It's technically a Sega CD game.
But I have the Sega CD hardware. I picked it as my hardware. Why can't I pick that as a Sega CD
wait a
game?
minute. So he's saying
he's got
I got that too.
Because he drafted the Sega CD, he thinks he has the whole Sega CD collection.
Yeah, come on,
Alex. This is like almost like what you're saying. If you draft Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, you get those games. Does Tony have access to the whole collection because he drafted the peripheral?
I
got to get a ruling on this.
I think Tony might have a point here. Actually,
I agree with Tony.
I think I agree with George. Gary looks stunned. Is this? Are you throwing a flag on this?
This is unprecedented. This is unprecedented.
I'm calling for a ruling on this. That I drafted the hardware. I should be allowed to pick for that hardware.
You have the hardware. Wow. When we all said he took Sonic Spinball and Wildcard, this man was playing chess.
Yeah.
This man was playing 5-dimensional chess. When our peasant asses were playing checkers.
Playing CD chess.
Listen, just because we allow it, the Genesis subreddit's going to eat him alive.
They will totally tear it apart.
Sonic CD, we'll allow it. Talk to it, Tony.
They're going to send your ass back to Hyrule with that move.
I am never winning a draft ever again purely on this choice. I'm going to get retroactively put in 5th place every time. Sonic CD was wild for me when I had the Sega CD because it was this and the Sewer Sharks game. But Sonic CD was like a revolutionary ahead of its time for what it was. It was Sonic 1 originally ported over, but then they just made a more advanced Sonic game. And they took some of the good parts of Sonic 2 and then added a time travel mechanic to the levels, so you could move through time, and it would not only change the background of the level and the way the level played, but the enemies you saw, the music changed, everything about the game changed based on what time travel zone you put in. You were like always trying to get like the good ending to the level, because if you went into the future, Robotnik had won, like Ganon winning in Zelda where he's conquered the world, and Robotnik has everybody's bots and everything. And if you went into the past, it was all like prehistoric or like ancient stuff. So like you had these like past, present, future elements of the game. And in some levels you always had to play future, and some you always played past. It was like they took the Sonic 1 game and Sonic 2 and made a totally different element to it and made it really interesting, in my opinion. I always thought it was a fun game. It was really hard too as a kid, and the music was astronomically better than any Sonic game of the time because it had a CD instead of a cart. So you had this like CD level music coming out of this game.
You evil genius.
I just want to jump in here to reiterate what Alex told me was a hot take. Sonic CD is a great pick, better than Sonic 2.
Wow.
No way.
I'm out
Yeah.
picking George in round 3, in the last round.
I
almost.
disagree with everything Tony just said.
Gary's
Gary,
on,
go,
right?
go,
I
Gary,
think
go.
the music is not like the happy chip tunes that you're used to. It's not like a bop. I don't it's too weird and jazzy. The controls are floaty. The jumping sound effects weird because the time travel, there's like rings stuck in the wall that you can't get to. The level design's just weird and I hate it.
That's the cool part about getting in the right time and finding the right stuff. The secrets.
I don't
Tony
know.
embraces chaos.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Gary, I don't
played
like
it.
this Sonic in my porch. I want my old flippy Sonic.
I played it on the Xbox 360 when it came out on arcade, so I never had to deal with any of the hardware stuff. I just thought it was great. I love the levels 3 stacked where you have past, present, and future, and you got to find things in each to properly beat the level. And you still get to go fast. You have all this, and you're still like breakneck speeding. And then like Metal Sonic is just the best
like,
boss to fight.
He's in
So
there
good.
all the time. He's like the main protagonist until you fight Robotnik.
Okay.
I think that when you post these drafts to the Reddit, you have to put so many asterisks on Tony's list and just like, they are going to come for him. They're not going to talk about any of the rest of our list. They're just going to come for his ass. And he's a lightning rod of controversy.
Well,
he always is. Tony is the bad boy of this podcast. He always has been.
Isn't the winner the one who gets the most votes, positive or negative?
Tony is the
Eric Bischoff said that controversy creates cash.
Yes.
And Tony understands that.
Tony is the most fuck around and find out guy on this podcast. I'm going to put an asterisk in your home address in case anyone will like to have any words with you.
Oh my God.
All right.
Here comes the doxing.
So we are into doing our final picks. Randy's got 2. These will be our final ones. Please leave your spreadsheets open. At the end, we're going to go through and recap our picks around the room. Randy, you've got action adventure / shooter and wild card left.
Okay. So I need to just like reset the energy in the room. I need to like bring us home, safely land this bird. I've already got the greatest list. So now I'm just going to safely land this bird. We're going to start with it's pretty much going to be 2 deep cuts. So let's just get a little weird with it. Action adventure shooter. I was a little torn here. So it was between Vector Man 2, which is excellent. It's very good. It is on par with Vector Man 1, the gameplay, the mechanics, it's all there. It's a little victim to being at the end of the Genesis's life cycle and people didn't care. But it is excellent game. But Vector Man's already appeared here, so I'm going to go a little different just to get some other representation on the list. I'm going with The Adventures of Batman and Robin. So The Adventures of Batman and Robin is based on the animated series. This game is the definition of a hidden gem. It slaps hard. It is also difficult. It is hard. It is a very difficult game, and I bounce off of difficult games typically, but this rental just got into my veins, and I was just like super into it. It is. So why is it in the like action adventure shooter range? Because in this game, for some reason, it's all about shooting batarangs. It's almost like Gunstar. It is literally like kind of mapped onto Gunstar Heroes mechanically, but it is Batman and Robin, and the graphics are top tier. It's really fun. It's considered one of the best Batman games. It's a deep cut. It's another licensed one that goes pretty hard. And I had a lot of fun playing it. It is just Batman excellence, really cool bosses, really cool level design. I encourage anybody to check it out. I stand by it as a really cool game. Happy to put it in my action adventure shooter with an honorable mention to Vector Man 2. Has anybody played this game?
I did not have this one, but I had Batman Returns for the Game Gear. But I remember there being a lot of Batman games, like every single one, and they all played in a different way, but they were all tough. They were always hard. It was never easy. Even though you're a Batman, you could die so easily.
It speaks to
Batman games typically skew pretty tough because you know,
but Batman
it's tough at them in the Gotham streets.
Yep.
All right. And then to land this bird, To land this bird, there are two.
Not landing planes, we're landing birds, yes.
There are
Bat
two.
birds.
To land this bat, two options I've been going back and forth in my mind with. One of them is a platformer that is licensed, that is excellent, and one of my most nostalgic, incredible favorite games of all time. To keep my list diverse, I am going to forego that one. I'm not going to mention it. I still think somebody else might pick it. If they know, they know. It's a really great game.
When it
We'll
gets
talk
to my
about it
turn,
after.
I'm gonna guess.
You can. I'm going to go with, on the deep cut category of board card game or whatever that is, I'm going with what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say out loud, is the greatest casino game of all time, Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace for Sega Genesis bangs hard. Because you could free roam the casino, it was like open world. It was so interesting and like well detailed and well graphed. It's just one of those Genesis hidden gems where it has everything you want. And then some weird deep cuts. You could go play Keno. And then while you're playing, you could get married. It's like Vegas. It was
It's
like
Vegas, baby.
It's Vegas, baby. What happens in Caesar's Palace on Genesis stays in Caesar's Palace on Genesis. It is legit one of the games I played the most. I played it with like my dad. My dad got a kick out of it because he loved gambling. So like he was like super into it. We also had Vegas Dreams was the NES one. Like we had a couple casino games, but Caesar's Palace was like really high polish casino game, and I do consider it the best one I have ever played. It has all the classics. It's got craps, it's got roulette, it's got slot machines, and you walk around and you go up the escalator and your little character rides the escalator and you're like in a casino. It's open world. It's so zany. And then you would go and you'd bet on the horses, and then you didn't know if you won or not until the horse race happened. So you would roam the casino and just chill for a bit until the horse race happened. Then you go back and check to see if you won. Like, it had all these little elements that if you played it, you appreciated. But again, it's like a deep cut. Nobody has played it, but it is. Caesar's Palace for Genesis went harder than it had any right to. I'm happy to have that as close out the most perfect Genesis draft list of all time. Has anybody played it? I doubt it.
This is Gateway to Gambling Addiction, the game.
Yeah, this podcast is now sponsored by FanDuel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Randy.
It's so beautiful. It's good stuff.
Before we talk about Caesar's Palace, did you, in the board card game, as a board game aficionado, were there any games on that list that you had for the Genesis? Did you ever dabble with any Monopoly, Risk, Battleship during that early days of Genesis and Super Nintendo?
I'm going to look at the list real quick.
Because we had board games, card games, and then we also had game shows. I remember I had Wheel of Fortune.
So the answer is no for board games, but I would always be interested in, and these played worse than the licensed movie games, but there was Nickelodeon Guts, there was American Gladiators. I would give those games a rent because I love those properties so much. All inevitably sucked hard. Really, absolutely no effort to make them play nice. I wanted a Guts game to be so good, so bad, because I loved Guts. Played like ass. The American Gladiators game played like ass. But those interested me more than the board games. Now, going back to NES real quick, there is a game called Anticipation, which Gary and that is like the king of board games of those days. That was a fun one. But Genesis, not so much. Genesis, I would also always look for a Wheel of Fortune on any console generation. Wheel of Fortune is a really good like co-op console game. Is usually pretty fun. So Wheel of Fortune, and I'd always check out any of the licensed game shows, even though they mostly sucked.
We played a lot of Family Feud for the NES, Gary.
Oh, that one goes hard too. Yeah, Family Feud translates to video games well.
Yeah.
That's good for a big group because everyone's like shouting at the top.
Yeah, man.
All right. We are on to Tony's final pick in sports.
Okay, I don't think anyone's going to pick this one. And I remember playing this as a kid with my neighbor because he was a big fan of this series, and he had it. And he had if you remember, the extra tall cartridges that came out by EA So they had the tall cartridge just to stand out and look different. And they would always be taller and they had the little yellow EA symbol stuck into the side.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember the hardball games were like really big.
yeah, they were just like an extra inch taller for and no reason other than sitting up in the Gary's little discount bins that he'd find. The EA games would always stand out. But this was Road Rash 2.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, baby, Road Rash.
Road
I
Rash
love
is my
Road
top
Rash.
Road Rash was fun because like you were just racing down
Yeah.
the thing and it was so simple, just avoid the stuff. But then all of a sudden the guy would show up next to you and he just start hitting you with a chain. You're like, what the fuck, man? I'm trying to race. And he just start beating on you. You're like, oh wait, I can hit him back. So then it was just became a goal of who can I beat up on the way down? And it was like a precursor to Mario Kart when you were just blasting people with shells. Now you're beating people with chains and getting boosts to race past them. And then you could do like 2-player where you could find your co-op player on the road and beat them with a chain. And like you could lean into turns and stuff and skid, but if you did it too much, you'd come like flying off the bike and like land on the side of the road. So Road Rash was one that we played a lot of. Like I think it was Road Rash 2 we played a ton of together. So that's my sports game of choice.
Road Rash was really fun. I definitely rented it from the Genesis. And yeah, I just remember driving by and some guy was just like Tanya Harding me with a tire iron and like, it was really fun.
I think even like the car people would lean out the window and hit you for being too close to them.
Yeah, it's like Paperboy. Everybody's just attacking you for no reason. Okay.
I love Road Rash is super fun and super like
it's just
one of those ones that I feel like doesn't get its respect in modern days for being really cool and fun and stupid. And the PlayStation 1 versions of Road Rash were really cool too. It's just a cool franchise that like is a little lost to time. So I get excited hearing it get its flowers.
It definitely was that Genesis adult era because there was Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo eventually, but Road Rash was literally hitting people with chains and knocking them off a motorcycle at 100 miles an hour. Like it was definitely more adult and more violent, which made it cool as a kid. You're like, oh, this is awesome.
Nice. All right, Gary, your final pick comes to us in the form of hardware or accessory. I feel like if the 6-button controller hadn't come off the board so early, that would have been an earlier pick for you, Gary.
I don't know if you're going to count this, but they did a Genesis Mini. It was like a couple of years ago, like a re-release, and that had a whole bunch of games on it. And
I would
for the
count
first
that.
time,
everyone agree? The Genesis Mini?
Yeah. Count. It's not as controversial as Tony.
The Genesis Mini had a copy of Mega Man or Mega World or Rockman Mega World. And that was the first time that America got a remake of the Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 from regular Nintendo, and they're all like 16-bit now. So
now we know why Gary picked that.
That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Tony. So somebody in this group actually likes Mega Man and respects Mega Man. You don't even care about that franchise.
Never even heard of it. Mega who?
Damn, that's a nice out of the box pick, Gary.
Oh, for America, I think it's called the Wily Wars, but in Europe, it was called Rockman Mega World.
That sounds familiar.
Not the Wily Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put it on the Mini, kind of like.
Thank you for your service, Gary. You fought in the Wily Wars.
Thank you for your service.
Gary, was Wily Wars in the GameCube era collection?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It was weird because that's like the only Mega Man love that Sega ever got, and I don't know why they didn't bring it to America. Why wouldn't they do that?
I don't know.
All right, George, your final pick, and you've got Wild Card wide open.
Well, I'm treating the wild card as I have to pick a game that doesn't fit into any of these categories we picked before. So we're going to go really off the reservation here. No one's picked any RPGs, and I'm not either.
Were there RPGs?
Yeah,
cool. Star games.
So like
Cool
the
story.
Shining Force games I think were exclusive to Sega. So Shining Force 2 would have been a good pick. The Phantasy Star games, 2, 3, 4.
What a drought! Not what that system was all about. Unfortunately,
no, it wasn't.
RPGs are such a cool genre that Genesis was not popping off with.
I feel like that's Squaresoft. Like Squaresoft carries Super Nintendo, then it carries the PlayStation. Whoever had that Squaresoft license had those RPGs back in the day.
I mean, there was Yeast 3, but like I didn't even play that. I didn't play the series. No, I'm gonna go I could have went with what I thought Randy was going to pick, the Toy Story platformer.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. Toy Story
That's
is
what I meant in
excellent.
Going first person in the crane game. I was talking about Toy Story. That game is
Oh, the 3D. Talk about the
man.
3D.
Alien crane
Yeah.
game.
It was so good. You're actually convinced me to pick it, but I'm going to stick with my pick of Ms. Pac-Man, the arcade port for Genesis. I played the hell out of it.
So you're not picking Toy Story.
I'm not. I thought it was
not
going to
the
be your
game
pick.
that everyone's hyped for.
Yeah, everybody got so excited it was about to hand you winner of the draft, and you immediately U-turned.
It wouldn't have been fair for me to do that after that reaction. No, Ms. Pac-Man.
Go ahead, get us excited about Miss Pac-Man after that.
Yes,
No,
just good curves.
it had like 30 levels. You know, you used to play in Pac-Man, you got like, what's it, like 3 different ones they recycle over and over, and it just gets faster. This had different levels. The fruit would evolve into different things. I think at one point, Miss Pac-Man eats like a discarded glove or some shit. I don't know what it is.
There was a shoe. I remember there was a shoe.
There was a shoe. Yeah. But the levels like stretched out. They were being different sizes. I just love the idea that I could play an arcade game as prominent as a Pac-Man game and not have to put quarters into it and just play it at my leisure. So I feel like if you're going to go out of the categories you've already done, Ms. Pac-Man is probably the best of the bunch.
Okay.
So
I played-
fiscally, it was a good choice.
I played an infinite amount of Miss Pac-Man on the arcade. Was it similar to the arcade, but just more expanded content?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many levels are in the arcade version. So I don't know if they expanded it or not, but it's certainly expanded compared to a standard Pac-Man game.
Got it.
And again, you just had it in your house, which was really nice.
I remember on Genesis Pac-Man, you could play with like a second player and do like a co-op thing.
Yes. Sorry,
Nice,
yeah,
okay.
Toy Story is really good.
That's a
That was
good
very
thing.
cool.
We'll talk about it in honorable mentions.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so between my two hardwares, it's a really tough choice. I think I'm going to mention one before I actually pick mine. So a big runner-up for me in hardware was the Sega Mega modem. And it wasn't really popular, but it was such a cool idea. Like Sega was really trying to be ahead of the times. And I know you can say whatever you want about R&D and Sega hardware and making too much of it, but the Sega Mega modem was really cool. It allowed people free of charge. You just had to pay for the phone service, and you could play online games. And they had a Tengen baseball game for it, and they had a bunch. And first time they ever showed it was someone in Ginza, which is like the shopping district in Tokyo, dialed to somebody in Akihabara, and they played their first online console game like live in Japan, and it was really cool. So that was a really close runner-up for me, and it probably is part of the reason why they included the modem in the Dreamcast, which was such an incredible idea. But I'm going to go with my hardware pick as the power base converter. What this did was this was an adapter that allowed you to play their original system, the Mega System of the Sega Master System cartridges on the Genesis. And the reason this was such a big deal was because Sega made this as soon as Nintendo got so much pushback that the Super Nintendo was not going to be backwards compatible. Parents were really upset that this entire library of Nintendo games would not work on the Super Nintendo. So while the power-based converter wasn't the most popular selling peripheral, it did a lot for Sega, for like the fandom and for like their public perception of like, no, we're going to make our system backwards compatible. And while the Sega Master System wasn't the most popular, at least they can point and be like, Nintendo, we do what Nintendo don't. So power-based converter in hardware.
All about trying to make Nintendo look bad.
That's what you had to do.
Okay. I hope everybody's got their spreadsheets open, because we're going to go through and we're going to name our picks, and then we're going to name some honorable mentions before we get out of here. So when we go through, we'll go through one at a time. Let's go on the spreadsheet right to left. So we'll start with Tony. Tony, mention your draft picks and then a couple of honorable mentions, something on the list that maybe didn't come up that you were thinking about.
All right. So we all know my not so controversial Sonic CD selection. The super real and super great Sonic game as the first category. I was torn between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, but I had more memories playing Sonic 3 with like throughout the years. Like Sonic 2, I played a lot of debug mode and fooled around in the game, but Sonic 3, just everything about it brought the game to a new level, and the save function made it even more fun to be able to come back to the game later and play than to be like, oh, I started World 1 again and again. So Sonic 3 would have been my first choice, but Sonic CD was the choice I knew I was going to have to make when I was in this draft order. I never saw a chance at my first 3 picks. For sports, I had Road Rash 2. I had NBA Jam in my first choice, but I knew I wasn't going to get that unless I tried to get it right away. But I figured I could let it go because it wasn't one of the games that I was very good at, and I never remember playing it and winning often. So Road Rash, I ended up having more fun playing. And I didn't have many other sports games. It was mostly those kind of things of the racing games with like the weird style racing and stuff. My platformer was X-Men. I was torn between this and Lion King just because I owned Lion King and played it a lot, but I enjoyed playing X-Men more. I thought it was more fun. Then I didn't have too many other good platformers in there. My action adventure, I had picked Vector Man just because I knew it was a fun game. It was awesome. It came late in the system, but it was just one of those things. I just remember as a kid the story and the lore of if you beat this game fast enough, you could win $50,000 or something, which was amazing at that time in the mid-90s.
Did anybody else in this group have any love for Vector Man besides me and Tony?
Yeah,
I
I
played
bought
a
it.
little
I
bit,
bought it
yeah.
late in the.
Yeah.
I
was
rode my
my
Genesis
second ranked
all the way
pick.
till the end. I loved my
Okay.
Genesis.
All right. I was just checking because, yeah, Vector Man's cool. And another one
never
kind of
played
lost
2.
the time.
Was 2?
Kinda lost
You
the
said
time.
2 was really good, right, Randy? I never played 2.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's just more of a good thing.
Yeah, and it's so late in the system too. It's like
It's so similar. Like it's like Streets of Rage 3 and 2, where you're like, people give all the love to Streets of Rage 2, but 3 is fun too. But
Yeah.
it's just more of a good thing.
my honorable mention for that series, and this is one I found in a bargain bin at like a CB Toys or a KB Toys or whatever it was called B.O.B. Bob.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that game was so hard. I could not beat it as a kid. I just could not beat it. And I even had like these subscriptions to certain magazines that were like give you hints randomly throughout different games, and Bob was always in them. I was like, I can't beat this game no matter what I did. And I'd always fail through it and eventually burn out my continues and come back sometime. It's just one of those games that I kept, through attrition, just kept going after it. And I don't know if anyone has even played these. A friend of mine had these, was the Desert Strike games. During like Desert
Are those
Storm.
the helicopter ones?
Yeah, Desert Storm
Aren't
was
those in
really
the
popular
arcade?
war. So they're like, we're going to make a game about being in Desert Storm.
George Bush
No,
Simulator.
they were fun. I've actually played them. Yes.
Yeah. They were weird, but it was a fun game. It was just a weird topic to sell video games to kids under in the mid 90s.
I don't know. Gary was busy fighting in the Wily Wars.
Yeah, he
we were
was in
all-
the
we were
Wily
all doing
Wars.
taking our turn for America.
Beat 'em ups, I had the classic Battletoads. I didn't have a lot of depth in beat 'em ups, so I took that one early because of that. Fighting Alex sniped my Mortal Kombat 1 choice, primarily because every time I went to my cousin's house, we played Mortal Kombat. And I distinctly remember the first time we did the mini game between levels where it was like you got to smash the buttons to beat some brick up and destroy it.
Yep.
We did the rake your knuckles across the keyboard thing.
It's
My
funny
wild
that, like
card.
those, because Street Fighter had the beat up the car in the middle. The fighting
Yeah.
games had mini games back in the day.
Yeah, it was like a weird like mini
Yeah.
game where it was like break the brick or something better than the opponent.
Yeah, it was probably a way to justify single player.
Yeah. So I had Clay Fighter in fighting games, and I was
I'm
torn
surprised
between
you guys
Primal
didn't go
Rage.
with Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, no one took Mortal Kombat 2.
Mortal Kombat 3 was out there, and it's the better one. Mortal Kombat 1 for its legacy in the gaming world and bringing out a whole new style. Like you didn't have human-looking people; you had characters, like in Street Fighter. But in Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, these are real-looking people. It's blood and it's violent and it's cool. It's like, all right, Mortal Kombat 2 is. I don't think I even played that one, and I remember Clay Fighter more than I remember Mortal Kombat 2. And then Wild Card was obviously the best choice. It was a Sonic Spinball, sniping that out from George because I knew he wanted it. In the pinball category, the deep Genesis pinball category, I
One
did
of them.
strongly debate that or Mean Bean Machine. And I just, because I played that a bunch and had a lot of fun, even though it was a Sonic game only in like franchise, it was just a fun game, even though I think it was a ripoff of a different game from Japan, just reskinned as
Puyo.
Robotnik Mean Bean Machine. And I remember the sound effects and the little beans floating down and everything, and just could not figure out how they could kick my ass every time in like the third or fourth level. And then obviously I got to get my Sega CD hardware so I can get my perfect Sonic CD pick out there. I did own a Game Gear, and I did immediately get like, my dad was like, when you got to get me a Game Gear, he's like, here, you're going to have this plug to plug it into the wall, because I'm not buying you 6 AAA batteries every day, because the Game Gear only had like 4 hours of battery life max.
If you got lucky.
Yeah, so I had the Game Gear with the extended big TV thing to make the screen even bigger. Like it was this massive system.
Oh yeah, Randy told us that for his Game Gear, he had a TV tuner.
I
My
wanted
man
that
was living.
so
He was
bad.
sitting on his yacht watching the Super Bowl on his Game Gear.
I wanted that thing so bad as a kid.
Oh yeah.
I could watch TV in my bedroom. That'd be so cool.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing that in a magazine and wanting it so bad for the Game Gear. But I for some reason I wanted the Sonic CD or Sega CD when I was a kid over a Super Nintendo. I regret it now, but I did get to play Sonic CD out of it. So
It's a better choice instead of like a 32X that didn't work.
oh yeah.
And at some point, if you had the Sega CD and the 32X, you now had 3 power adapters coming out of your Genesis.
Yeah. Yes.
Like what power adapter are you buying where you're fitting 3 of the bricks?
Yeah, the bricks no less.
You need another fuse protector in your wall to power all of that system.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tony. George, would you like to recap your picks for us?
Yeah. So for hardware, I ended up with the 6-button controller. Very happy with that pick. You had a wireless controller on that list. I don't know about that one.
I found it, and there was an accessory where 8-bit do or something. So it might have been a later one, like a later one that still worked with the Genesis. But yeah, I found that. But I didn't even know wireless was possible on the Genesis days.
Yeah, like if I had heard of that, that would have been game breaking, or maybe that's not right term. It would have been like just a legendary thing to have at that point in time. But it sounds sus, so I didn't pick it.
I think the Wavebird was my first wireless controller ever.
Like for the original Nintendo, the wireless technology wasn't there yet, so it was the same infrared as the TV remote control. So if you pressed A and B at the same time, the TV shut off.
That's amazing.
So I had to return that.
That sounds like a great job, quality control.
And that was more like the peripherals. You had to put like these like square things on the corner of your TV sometimes to pick up, because they had the like trackpad and stuff that could be it was a whole thing.
The power glove.
Oh God. Anyway, for beat 'em ups, Golden Axe 2, very happy with that pick. Yeah, a little disappointed no one picked Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. That's fine. Action shooter, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That was my number 1 with a bullet. So great. No one even talked about Echo the Dolphin. But
it was so hard.
It was so bad
for good reason.
I don't actually like the game. I was just surprised it didn't even come up.
I played that at a kiosk. I never even rented it or anything.
That was a game. Yeah, that game that was very marketed. That was not fun.
No, like I think it's on Switch Online, and I started it, and after about 10 minutes, went, "Why am I playing this?" And I just turned it off. Fighting games, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, the best of the bunch. I need to give a shout out to the Power Rangers fighting game.
Yeah,
that game was great. I don't think it was on the Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo had a beat 'em up that Sega didn't have. I own both. Great games. Let's see. For Wild, I wanted to really go off the category, so I picked Ms. Pac-Man. Sports, yes, I did not pick George Foreman KO Boxing. Very happy with Rock and Roll Racing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, George Foreman KO Boxing, basically, I guess it was their Super Punch-Out alternative?
Yeah.
I don't know. So strange. Sonic got the best one, Sonic 3. I had a killer draft. I want to talk about platformers because there's so many, right? I picked Hook, a personal favorite. Toy Story could have easily been up there, which is so good. Follows the movie to a T. The graphics are 3D-ish on a 2D console. Gameplay was tight. It had fun things to do within the games. Not too frustrating either.
It's one of my most replayed games. A secret weapon of Toy Story is that all their video games are good. Toy Story 2 for the PlayStation 1 is very good. And Toy Story 3 is another good game. I think it was like PlayStation 2 era. They just keep like making banger after banger. But Toy Story 1 is such a nostalgic pick for me. Replayed so much. It is probably the biggest miss of this draft. The only reason I didn't pick it for my wild card was to put a little variety as the spice of life. I felt like I had that genre pretty well represented.
Yeah.
But Toy Story could have been in my 1, 2, or 3 rounds easily, and I would have not have batted an eye. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, it's the one, like, Hook I played on Super Nintendo, and I got it first. That's why I like it a little more. But Toy Story is the one I played on Genesis. And played
those
it
3D
a lot.
graphics, mind-blowing. Full
good.
like Doom 3D.
Also on platformers, I wrote down Earthworm Jim. I didn't pick it because I don't think it's as fun as these other ones, but it's such a household name.
It's a vibe, and it's that Genesis gross out.
Yes,
that we've been talking about this whole night.
I know the show more than I know the game.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, the game's a little clunky, but I remember renting it and it's feeling it was clunky, but it's also a vibe. Like you were just like in that weird world.
And none of us talked about the Mickey Mouse games. Castle of Illusion's really good.
So just to piggyback on that, that is where like Quackshot is kind of like the same engine as like Castle of Illusion. It's all same kind of developers, team and all that. But Quackshot is just so inventive. It's like why Gary and I love it so much. But, you know, Castle of Illusion gets a lot of praise. Quackshot's in that same vicinity.
And the last is one I don't know if anyone knows. Kid Chameleon. Has anyone played that game?
I think I've heard of that one. I don't remember ever
A
playing
little bit.
I played it on PC where they were selling Genesis, like I don't know what they call it. But it was like the Genesis collection for the PC. And you play as this character who's like in a virtual game. It's like Ready Player One before Ready Player One. And you pick up different helmets in each level and he has different abilities. Game was super tough. I've never actually finished it, but it was so different that I felt it was worth bringing up.
Is that your whole lineup?
That's the lineup.
Okay. Randy, give us your picks.
All right, let's go. So in the category of Sonic, I got Sonic the Hedgehog 1, which I'm very happy with. That is classic. In sports, this was one of the this is my favorite Genesis game. I'm just going to call it out. It is NBA Jam. NBA Jam is, when you all were mad at me, you're right to be mad at me. That's a good one of the greatest games of all time and a great port of the it was bringing the arcade into our households for the first time. NBA Jam rules. Quackshot is very specific, but if you know, you frickin' know. And that's all I'll say about Quackshot. All go back, do your homework. That game is weird in all the best ways. I can't even say like how much it's so replayable, and there's just like it's Vibe City. There's a part where you have to go meet Gyro Gear Loose, my name for this podcast, and you have to go meet him to get the bubble gun. Yeah, there's a bubble gun, and there's a popcorn gun. What? In addition to your plunger gun. None of this game makes sense. But you go over there, and how do you get to him? You have to like fight through the city rooftops, and you have to ride these cables, and it's dangerous. And you get over to Gyro, he gives you your popcorn, the bubble gun. Gary, right? It's the bubble gun?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So you get the bubble gun, and then all those power lines you rode that were dangerous on the way back, you ride them, and it is a calm sunset on the way to return. And it is like just beautiful games being art type of thing. I don't know why. As a kid, I'm like riding these, and all the danger's gone, and you're just taking a ride back home, and you're like, this is lovely. And that game just so speaks to some part of my soul. Love Quackshot.
I love
Really?
that you
all
brought
the,
that up,
all the
and
Disney
I
ones.
forgot that I played it. Like, and you brought
all the
back
way?
all these memories of just like, wait, I really like Quackshot, but when my cousins gave me all the old Genesis games, it just didn't make the jump, so I never got to finish it.
It's so good. The bosses go hard. Oh my god, you fight Dracula, you fight a big tiger, and then like in the Dracula level, which is super scary, and then the wall closes in on you, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid. Where you're like, you have to plunger your way up the wall, and the wall's closing in on you like Indiana Jones, and trash compactor in Star Wars. It scared me as a kid of like trying to outrun the wall. It's like I have so many memories with that. It's crazy, crazy game. Yeah, do it on your YouTube, Alex. And then we have in action adventure shooter. We have the Adventures of Batman Robin. I knew this would be a deep cut. This will be another, if you know, you know. This game punches above its weight. It's not just another Batman game. It's really interesting, really cool graphics. Beat 'em up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist. This is an excellent game. Really, really stand by this one. It's so cool. And you know, what's a Hyperstone? You'll just have to play to find out. Fighting games. Primal Rage. Let's go. Give me Primal Rage, the movie. Give me that movie yesterday. I want Primal Rage -0 to come out and smash IMAX records in 2027. Let's go. Dinosaurs, beating on dinosaurs. It's like Jurassic Park 3 when those two dinosaurs fought in the jungle for like 20 minutes of that pretty bad movie. But like that scene was awesome. That's what Primal Rage is. Primal Rage is the good scene in the bad Jurassic Park movie. And then we have Wild Card, Caesar's Palace. I want to make a correction. Caesar's Palace, you cannot get married in. I was thinking of the NES game, so you can't get married in it, but it is still open world and excellent, and the horse racing is a highlight, and I brought up a Let's Play, and the horses' names in this Let's Play, generated by the game itself, are Booga, Easy Winner, World Click, Genghis Khan, Veggie Concepts, and Tantuga. So you just go to the name of the computer that you're betting on the horses is called Horse 2000. And you put your bets in the Horse 2000 machine and you go, Genghis Khan, you can do it. And that's Caesar's Palace, which is, if you know, you know.
If
and then my hardware accessory.
Princess, you have to be Veggie Concepts. What the hell was that name?
Veggie Concept.
Yeah. And I love that the Horse 2000. It's Y2 nay. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh my God.
You had to sneak that in there.
You had to throw that in there.
That is a post 2 hours on the podcast joke. And we're going to wrap it up with I clearly won hardware accessory with Game Genie, just like no doubt about it. You know, 6 buttons are just like if you want to make a simple controller more complicated, get out of here with that. Give me Game Genie. Give me mods before mods. Make my games weird. I want Game Genie. Going to talk about honorable mentions real quick. Let me get my list. I have it sorted by honorable mentions real quick. Toy Story, we talked about at length. It's the biggest whiff on this list that none of us picked it. I included myself. Beat 'em up. One of the high beat 'em ups I was considering was Spider-Man Separation Anxiety, which is the sequel to Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
Maximum Carnage is definitely one of those games you saw on Blockbuster all the time because it had very iconic artwork. And Maximum Carnage was also in the video game magazines. Maximum Carnage was very marketed, but Maximum Carnage was fun. And Separation Anxiety was like the sequel, which was just like even crazier. You get to play all the weird extra symbiotes like Scream and all the ones with the tendril dreadlocks and all those weird symbiotes. It's a beat 'em up. It's very fun. Genesis licensed game. The graphics are excellent. Like all these games we talk about today all have weirdly great graphics. It's a Genesis thing. A really, 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 really deep cut in the creativity genre is Art Alive. Art Alive is a game I rented where it's like Microsoft Paint, but you could also animate it. And I got that for a rental one time and we had so much fun with it. And I was like, didn't know how to use it too well. I was just painting like paint. And my dad, I have this very nostalgic memory of him figuring out how to make an animated GIF in this Genesis game by like frame by frame by frame. He made this airplane change colors and then we hit play and the airplane flew and it was like Technicolor changing colors. I was like, Dad, he scored so many dad points with me by doing that. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it was this animation studio on the Genesis. It's called Art Alive. Excellent game. Could have easily made my list. Some cool, weird sports games. We have Barkley's Shut Up and Jam. We have Jordan vs. Bird. We have the Micro Machines game on that isometric shit, which like Micro Machines loves isometric for some reason. Weird, goofy Genesis stuff. Mutant League football, Mutant League hockey. Wanted to throw those in there. Some more license weirdness. We have Beavis and Butthead. We have Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's Invention, which I definitely rented multiple times. I've beaten that game. I've beaten Beavis and Butthead. They're hard. They're clunky, but they also really feel like the vibe of the show. Like they really captured the vibe of the show. I also had Tailspin, which was like, all these like really were fun if you like those shows.
I thought you were going to go for Tailspin.
I'm wearing a Tailspin shirt right now.
That's amazing.
Tailspin was fun. The NES Tailspin is absolute hot trash, but the Genesis Tailspin was pretty good. And that's it. There's also some like ones that I played a little bit of that are deep cuts, but I'm not deep cuts. Beloved, like Arrow the Acrobat was a pretty one people loved. And the beat 'em up was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie.
Right.
And Strider was cool, the ninja game.
Strider is great. Yeah, Strider was going to be one of my honorable mentions.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. That was a really cool story about the creativity game. What was it one more time? The art game?
Art Alive.
Okay, that was awesome. Okay, so in Sonic, with the first overall pick, totally legit, I got Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I think for Sonic, I think Sonic Spinball may have been a close second for me because I knew if I didn't get one of the Sonic 2, 3, or Sonic and Knuckles, I knew I was going to be kind of having to get kind of crafty there.
Would you have
Sports,
taken
NHL
that over
94?
CD Blast or 3D Blast?
I never played 3D Blast.
I rented it. It is not that bad. I actually got into it a little bit, but it's you know,
The isometric is tough.
It's Tony Town. It's
Yeah.
a 7.
It's visually a hard sell.
Yeah.
They did the best with what they were going for.
Yeah.
For some runner-ups in sports, Boxing Legends of the Ring was fun just because you had all the Rocky characters. You could play as like Drago and Mr. T, whatever his name was. Dick Vitale's Awesome Baby College Hoops. I just remember playing that on Gary's laptop. George Foreman's KO Boxing. So I, for some reason, really always loved billiards games. And Side Pocket was a game that ended up on every console back in the day. NES, Game Boy, Genesis. And I remember playing it so much on the NES. But Side Pocket was really fun. And we've never really had great billiards games after that. There was a couple on PS2, but World Series Baseball was the first game that I ever had. First baseball game with a season mode. It's a really bad game, and I must have played like 80 full games of that because I was just like sitting there every night. I think I was saying this when you were in the restroom, Randy, but it was like the first time you ever got WWF Attitude. It was the first wrestling game I remember with a season mode. Even though Attitude wasn't that great, it was so fun like doing the pay-per-views and stuff, and that was kind of the same way World Series Baseball was for me. And then WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. That was a sports game that I only played in the arcade, but if it was a good port to the Genesis, then that must have been really fun too. This was really before
that used the Mortal Kombat kind of mocap visuals.
Yeah, we were one system before we got to like the Renaissance era of wrestling games with the PS1 and the N64. For platformer, I took Rocket Knight Adventures. The only other platformers I gave any thought to are Beavis and Butthead, Rystar, and of course Toy Story. Toy Story rules so hard. Action adventure shooter, I got Gunstar Heroes. The only other one I considered was Contra Hardcore that was still on. That is the hardest game. Like Contra Hardcore puts the hard in hard. It is insanely difficult. It is so unforgiving, and you die so fast, and you have to restart the whole game all over again. So it is really like where Gunstar Heroes had unlimited continues. So it was difficult, but you can manage it through time. For beat 'em up and wild card, I took Streets of Rage 2 and Streets of Rage 3. Probably a second best game series for me on the Sega Genesis behind the Sonic the Hedgehogs. In wild card, I don't know if this would have been a trick, but there was in Europe, they released Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles as a duo cartridge. And I was like, do I go in wild card and take that?
No.
I was like, no, that feels like too much of a dirty. It doesn't like feel good to have done that. But that was something I was thinking of in wild card. In wild card, I also thought of Virtua Fighter 2 and 2 games that were infamous rather than being famous. But I want to talk about Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. holy cow, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker was such a culturally important game that sucked so much ass. So bad. You couldn't beat it. For some reason, once you were done with the level, a monkey jumped on your shoulder and
Bubbles.
progressed you through. And it's like, why wouldn't the boss just come out? It's
No, like that's his monkey. He owned that monkey in real life.
great. What was his name? Chimps or something? I can't even remember.
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Bubbles the monkey.
Yeah.
Oh my
You're
God.
saving
And then-
Annie in every level. It's all flavor.
Yeah. And then another
I mean,
infamous
we
game.
also have to mention that Michael Jackson composed Sonic 3 music.
Yeah, he did.
Like, just
I didn't know that.
what a weird trivia fact.
That's awesome. And Wildcard Shaq Fu was one I wanted to mention just for being god awful. And then this is one that no one is going to know, but there was a game by Koei called Norabunga's Ambition or Nobunaga.
No, I have not heard of that.
Norinaga's Ambition.
Ambition. Sorry, I missed that. And it was a strategy game, but like you were defending your country, and it was a war game. It was very similar to like La Emperor on the regular Nintendo. And my dad had it on the Super Nintendo, and I played a ton of Nobunaga's Ambition. And in the hardware, I took the power-based converter, but I want to throw a little shout out to the Sega Mega modem. And I think that was all the hardware there was a lot of weird hardware. Sega, the one thing about the Genesis, and I said this on the Sonic 2 podcast, is they always felt like a used car salesman to me, where they were always trying to sell me some accessory or some multi-tap, or it's like, I think I compared it on Sonic 2 where I said like, you could put the 32X on the top and the Sega CD on the side. And you just have like a human centipede of a Genesis where like cartridges are going in the front and CDs are shooting out the back. I don't even know. But yeah, a lot of hardware and a lot of accessories. Gary, can you please take us home with your
Sure.
honorable mentions and your picks?
What did I get? I got Sonic and Knuckles because you have to. I mean, that game's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised like no one ever did like a lock on thing after them. It's like even Nintendo or anything like it's crazy.
It is crazy. It's an interesting thing, and I've said this off mic, but now that we're on the podcast, I will say that Sonic and Knuckles base is my favorite 2D Sonic game.
Yeah.
The base, because everybody goes for that Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I'm like, that's okay, it's good, I get it, but like Sonic and Knuckles is great on its own, and it gets a little overshadowed by that combo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't argue with you if you're going to pick Sonic and Knuckles over Sonic 3. I think they're both so close.
The base is such a wonderful game, and those level designs are just so good.
They really are.
It's really like a sequel where like they didn't change a thing and there's just more of
They
it.
just tossed in Knuckles and said, here you go.
Yeah.
And it felt Sonic and Knuckles felt like a graphical jump on the same console generation.
Yeah.
Like when I played Sonic and Knuckles, I felt like I was playing a new console generation, even though I wasn't. Just the sound effects of the mushrooms and like the way they animated, everything was like kicked up a notch. And it felt like we were in a new generation, but we weren't. We were just later in the same one.
Yeah, they really dialed it in from like the first two games. But yeah, what else do we get? We got NHL 97 for sports. Platformer, took Aladdin, love Aladdin,
That is
all
a good
the Disney
platformer.
games.
Great pick.
Like all the Disney, like Donald Duck, Aladdin, the Mickey game, they're all like super attention to like the detail. Like really well animated. Love all those games. And then we got Jim and Earl.
Jim and Earl.
Baby.
A little wacky one. For my beat 'em up, I got Comic Zone. Love Comic Zone. Again with the graphic styling. And then for fighting, I had to take the Street Fighter. But it was a very, very close toss up with Mortal Kombat.
Would you have taken Mortal Kombat 1 or 3 then if you...
I mean, 3, I like 3 just because the amount of characters and the different stages, but 1 has like a nostalgic factor to it, and it's got Raiden.
Yeah.
It's unrated.
The Genesis, that era was really making the statement, and I've said it before with the beat-em-ups, but also with the fighting games, of the arcade is now in your home,
Yeah.
and it's not half-assed. Like, you will play Street Fighter 2 in your home and have a great time. You will play NBA Jam in your home, have a great time. You will play beat-em-ups, like, Streets of Rage 2, that would, like, only be possible. That it was the statement of the era of, like, and that's why beat 'em ups and fighting games are really big on Genesis, but like RPGs are not, because they were really focused on the arcade is now in your home was the mission statement.
Yeah, it's the first knife into the arcade system by killing out arcades by being able to play a game just as good as something you have to drive to and pump quarters into. Now you can play it at home and just hit continue.
Yeah. What was it? My last picks.
Tasmania.
Wild card, Tasmania, just because it's
Love it.
silly and goofy. I love it. And I picked the Genesis Mini for hardware because, I was introduced Genesis to all the younger kids, and you could have HDMI and added Mega Man for the first time in America, so that was pretty cool.
Drafted into the Wily Wars.
For sports, we missed the golf games. The golf games were kind of fun, just to hang out and chill out. You mentioned Mean Bean Machine before. That was a cool little puzzle game. There's a couple for the Family Feuds. There's a Jeopardy game that's kind of fun too. But all the other ones, my shortlist you guys mentioned, all the Gunstar Heroes, Quackshot for sure, Golden Axes. Those are all really good.
I feel like this was a really good first console to do because there's such a wealth of games, but also because there was so many, there was I don't even remember how many games were on there, 300 something plus. You were going to get to points where we were all picking games that we only knew because, there's just such a plethora of items.
So I got one other question. Did anyone play any of the Simpsons games on the Genesis? Because I remember the Simpsons arcade game was huge.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Which one? What was the... I did play one.
There was
Virtual
Bart Nightmare.
Bart's Nightmare.
The Bart one.
And then Bart versus
Mutants.
the Space Mutants.
I had the
was another
Space
one.
Mutants one.
They were all Bart themed. It was the 90s.
And they were all...
There was the beat 'em up in the arcade, and you would think that was just as
Right.
good on the Genesis, but it was not.
No, I have a soft
if you-
spot for Bart's Nightmare because I owned it for Super Nintendo and I played the heck out of it and did beat it. And that was not easy because I had so few games I had to beat what I had. But I would go to a cousin's house and play Virtual Bart, and I was like, I don't know, playing it in short bursts is fun. Kind of glad I never owned it.
Yeah. Did you have the Simpsons games for 16-bit, Tony? Were you as big of a Simpsons head when you were...
I was a huge Simpsons head, but I always rented them, and they were, again, god-awful. I remember every time I rented one, I was like, this one's going to be the one that... Nope, it's just terrible. It's not fun.
And you were so spoiled by the arcade game because the arcade game
was so good.
Perfect
And
Simpsons.
you're also, Turtles in Time, they just brought it home, but they never brought Simpsons home.
Yeah.
Or X-Men.
Or X-Men, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that platform X-Men, but no, the beat 'em up X-Men didn't transfer well.
Yeah. Imagine that with blast processing.
Yes.
No matter where you were in the arcade, all you heard was Colossus from the other end of the arcade.
Yes.
Colossus, arcades were so loud and Colossus cut through all the noise and all you heard was Colossus.
It was amazing. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Genesis.
We're not done yet.
Oh.
We're not done yet.
Here we go.
Because
He's going to turn back into liquid gyro gear loose.
Because you mentioned accessories, and I just thought, well, this is very convenient to me. I want to show you some accessories. We have the Game Gear itself.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, he's got it still.
We got a Game Gear. We have the first OG battery pack for it. Look at this.
Oh my God, you had a
Insane
battery
thing.
pack?
Wow,
I just had the
huge.
wall pack.
No, I had the
It's like an
battery
electric
pack.
shaver.
Yeah.
Randy's
is,
whole goal
you
was to turn a portable system into the least portable thing imaginable.
A 40-pound portable system.
That is so true. That is so true. Because then you have the magnifying
I had that one.
glass,
I had that one. Yes.
so you could see your own screen. Then we have the second battery pack. This one's screwed into the back.
Oh my God.
Yes, there was a screw you could attach stuff to the back of it with.
And then we had Game Gear Game Genie,
Wow.
which is huge.
I've
That
never
is
seen a Game Gear Game
enormous.
Genie.
So check this out.
It
Hold on.
doesn't have the little flap where it has the book inside?
Yes, it does. So here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, the portables had to hook it over
You
the
go
back
in the
like
back.
that.
So now Game Genie's in there. And but how do I bring my book on the road? Oh, the book is in here. Well, there's multiple books in here. There's your book. There's your book, bro.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so I'm in accessory hell. I don't know why I still have all this, but we talked about accessory nonsense today, and I had to show and tell a little bit.
I'm so jealous.
And also, I keep it all in my Game Gear briefcase.
Oh, that's almost the same size as the one I had.
I love
Okay,
that
now you could end this podcast.
Yeah, I love that you had luggage for your game.
Yeah.
You had to check a bag whenever you flew.
Yep.
Wow.
Let's go.
On that note, thank you for joining us for the Sega Genesis draft. We are taping this a little ahead of time. This will be going up in about 2 weeks. And then please head over to the Sega Genesis Reddit and give us a vote. You can never listen to the whole podcast. Just look at the spreadsheet, put in one of the 5 names that you think have the best draft. I know that Randy's going to put in some Game Genie codes in an attempt to try to sway things his way. And the winner will get to pick the next draft topic. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was so fun. And we'll crown a winner soon. Everybody, take care of yourselves.
Sega.
See you.
Sega.